in the ring, feel the adrenaline rush, throwing fists and kicks, the pain we can't hush. In the MMA finest, we're the real tough guys, breaking down barriers, we aim for the skies. Into the octagon, like a warrior I stand, train blows, taking hits as I command. The art of combat, I'm ready to go. Submission, knockout, that's how I flow. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling with my golden octagon. The stage we ignite. Unleashing the fury like an untamed beast, locked in a cage where strength is released. Striking precision, grappling like a golden octagon. The stage we ignite.
And we are live. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast with your hosts, Matt and D. Rose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. My name is Matt, and D. Rose is right over there on that side of the screen. We hope you are all having a fantastic evening. What a fun-filled show this should be. On today's show, we are going to recap this past week's UFC 315. D. Rose is going to be eating some beans, finally. We got some UFC news and fight announcements to go over, and then we'll be giving you our preview and our picks, our predictions for this upcoming weekend's fights in the Apex, D. Rose. UFC Vegas 106, Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. And then, got a few extra segments in, but we'll get to those when we get to them. With that being said, we appreciate every single one of you for stopping by and hanging out with us right here today over on the Golden Octagon. If you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Yeah, man. Let's get into the show. How you been over the past week, my guy? I guess since Sunday morning at 2 a.m.
Seriously. Long night the other night. But no, things have been great over this way, man. Ended up having a pretty good month last month or whatnot. So want to be planning the trip probably to see y'all as long as y'all are still up there this summer. Probably should be up there around July. So we're actually working on vacation plans for that now. So pretty excited to just get away for a little bit. Planning that there. And this past weekend we had talked about it a little bit Saturday, but a card that coming in, I was pretty down on, but in my opinion, I think it over delivered. I mean, I thought it actually ended up being a good night of fights. For as much people, slept on Bilal, they ended up getting the fight of the night bonus at the end. So that ended up being a pretty good fight as well. Even though there were a lot of decisions, which I was prepared for that. Fun night of cards fun night of fights overall. And yesterday, just real quick, thank you, Dana White, for actually dropping the news the day before the podcast so we can come in and have time to talk about the day of instead of waiting until, I don't know, let's say 10:45 Eastern when as soon as we're done, you decide to end up dropping the news. Yeah, thank you for actually dropping stuff to give us something to talk about the next day and not the next week.
Dude, we all know Dana watches the Golden Octagon MMA podcast, and as soon as it ends, he's like, all right, time to hop on live, drop the news. That's what always happens, man. Because as soon as we get off, that's when he hops on, dude. The boss man is watching. Let's get into the chat real quick. We got Austin in here. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's time for the Bean Bop and it Don't Stop LFG. I don't think I'll ever watch a card on Mushes again. I have zero recollection of what happened. Sorry, Dave. Anyway, we got Antoine. Yeah, my favorite night of the week. Let's get it, boys. And D Rose, I know you're thrilled about getting Cooper Flag with a 1.8 chance in the lottery. I'm sure you guys will talk about that.
Well, I mean, the main thing is I don't care if the NBA is rigged. In some way, you could say they kind of made it right for them trading Luka. So maybe Nico Harrison, the clown bag that we were, making him out to be, maybe he's not so dumb. Maybe he ends up getting the last laugh. Who knows?
Yeah. Oh, well, I shouldn't say it's zero recollection. I remember losing money. I'm sorry, Dave. You weren't the only one, though. You weren't the only one. The news segment this week going to be fire with all the storylines. Says Antoine, indeed. And then D shaking his head. I thought the card was at least an A, in my opinion. Yeah, it was a pretty solid card. Not too bad. But with that being said, let's get into the UFC 315 recap. With that being I keep saying with that being said. Anyway, let's get into it. Main event this past weekend. Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, loses to Jack Della Maddalena via decision, dude. Who would have thought Jack was going to win that fight via decision? It was kind of like Bilal via decision or Jack via knockout. But Jack wins via decision. It ended up being a banger of a fight, dude. Bilal's tough as all hell, dude, because, man, Jack in a few rounds looked like Alex Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree in the fourth round, dude. It's like Jack could not be touched. Just solid head movement, just tagging up Bilal, and that the meme keeps going around with like what Bilal heard, and it was like, "Fuck off, Mike! Pow, 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 pow. Fuck off, Mike! Eat that left, Mike!" I just keep laughing at it, but it's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure you'll eventually see it. What's your thoughts on the main event this past weekend for UFC 315, man?
Yeah. Of course, we did the recap this past week, so fun thing there that we were able to do. But I thought it was a banger of a fight. I thought both were willing to stand and trade in certain moments. Now I thought Jack, his takedown defense, he ended up definitely improving that a lot more than what I was anticipating coming into this fight. And he kept doing that little sneaky thing and I think I even pointed it out when we were watching the fight, was every single time Bilal will back him up against the fence, every time Bilal would go to lock his hands, JDM would drop real quick. And as soon as he did, it would make it to where Bilal couldn't lock. And then he was able to get the underhooks and was able to get out of there off the fence almost every single time. Like it was beautiful the way JDM was setting that up. He just came in and fought a really smart fight, man. I mean, to me, I thought 48-47 scorecard, I thought that was the right score at the end. I thought that, I thought JDM won the first two rounds pretty clean. I mean, of course, me being somebody who was supporting Bilal, I'm like, this ain't good, man. This ain't good to start down 2-0 like that. I thought he really ended up, he knew he was going to have to weather the storm. So he really ended up biting down on his mouthpiece there in round 3. And I thought Bilal was able to work his way back into it. And I thought the fourth round was close, but I did think that Bilal was able to put a little bit more pressure. And I know he ended up getting a takedown. He didn't have the longest control time or whatnot, but he was able to get some control there. And I thought the striking was pretty even to where I sided with Bilal there. But in that fifth round, man, you could tell both guys are tired. Both guys are going for it. And JDM there, he ended up catching Bilal. I think it was with that straight left there. Had Bilal kind of stunned. You could see JDM just going for it, pressing against him on the fence and landing those big shots. It was a fun fight, man. I think I think Bilal earned a lot of people's respect over this past week with that performance as well, just because I don't think a lot of people thought he had that in him. And I think JDM earned a lot of people's respect as well, just because that was a level up moment for him. And we're kind of seeing it in real time. We see how good he is now. He's 28 years old. He only has time to get better.
Yeah. One of my main takeaways from that fight, though, was I think that's what Antoine was alluding to here. But the spinning back fist that Bilal kept throwing, it's just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, he kept going back to it. Do you remember that? The fight companion were like, why is Bilal Muhammad throwing a spinning back fist? It just
no sense.
Yeah. Anyway, co-main event: Valentina Shevchenko, Manon Fiorot. Dude, I guess live watching the fight, I thought Manon won. After the first round, we're like, it's cooked. We're done. Yeah. We both think Manon, we're done. Odds shot up to like minus 5,000 Valentina after the first round, and then, dude, I thought Manon won basically every other round pretty cleanly. Maybe there was another close round, but I thought Manon could have won, I think 4-1, but I mean, I haven't really watched it since we watched it Saturday. But I guess the fight could have gone either way, but Valentina does get the nod, though. What's your recollection of Saturday, man?
Yeah, I thought the big thing for me, after that round 1, I knew we were done, cooked. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yep, there we go." Podcast.
But I also said
podcast
it
player.
Friday, though. I was like, some on the back of my neck just tells me if this ends up going to be a close fight, they're going to end up giving it to Valentina. And that ended up what ended up happening, dude. So,
Yeah, no, because I thought Fierro, after that first round, we thought she was cooked, but she fought back well in that fight, man. I thought she won second and third round pretty cleanly. As we were stating, we were wanting Fierro to do father's plan and take Valentina down. And let's not mess around. You're the bigger chick. You're having success.
Yeah.
You're getting popped on the feet. Your nose will not stop bleeding. Will not stop bleeding. Please take Valentina down and do father's plan. They're in the fourth round. I did think Manon was winning the fourth round until that last second there, where I don't even know if Manon really got dropped. It looked like it was a pretty clean shot, but I don't know if it was because it rocked her or she just caught her off balance when the punch landed and it knocked her down. The punch landed, obviously, from Valentina. It was like a little short right hook, but it ended up setting Manon down. I think the judges ended up giving Valentina that round because of that. And I thought the fifth round, just kind of one of those rounds that this is the old boxing rule, but tie goes to the champ. I thought Manon just left it too close there at the end. And as you said, probably going to end up siding with Valentina. And I thought the fifth round was close. I thought both ladies brought it. But yeah, I couldn't be mad that Valentina won because there were moments in the fight where she looked damn good.
Yeah. It's funny because we're going to continue to pick against Valentina. She's been so dominant for so long. She's been like so long now because she is 28 years old and killer in Natalia Silva. Yeah, dude, that's going to be a fun one, Natalia Silva, dude. Because, dude, she's not faster than Natalia. I know that.
Or is it going to be Wei Li?
Dude, that's
Wei Li. You see Wei Li with the call out?
Yeah, I saw that, dude. That would be, dude.
Not the call out, but she was standing in front of the TV or whatever,
Yeah.
where she was like watching the fight, and she was like, I think it was a thumbs up or something like that she was giving.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
dude, I'd be interested
personally,
in that.
honestly, me personally, I think
that is the best WMMA fight you can make.
Yeah,
like, hands down.
I think so. The two biggest names, and honestly, I mean, you see how much of a bully Wei Li was against Tatiana, who, Tatiana looked pretty good at 125 against Montana Della Rosa. I mean, Wei Li got a shot in that fight. I mean, just like Antoine said, we're going to continue picking against Valentina. It's either going to keep going out here and keep beating these chicks, and we're just going to continue to be salty about it. But man, that is it's a fun fight, and I'd like to see that one next, honestly.
Antoine, I don't want to call you wrong, man, but you see how good Jazz is, and like Natalia Silva styled on Jazz. Dude, that wasn't even close. So I think she has fought good grapplers. They just can't get a hold of her. That's the issue. She's too in and out, too fast, back and forth. It's good luck tracking her down. Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, Jose Aldo, Aimon Zahabi, dude. I know a lot of people are mad at this because they wanted the Jose Aldo decision win, dude. I picked Aimon Zahabi to win that via decision. I had it in a bet, so I was hoping Aimon Zahabi won that. But if I'm going to be honest, at the end of the fight, I probably thought Jose Aldo. Like, if I was a judge, I would have had to have been honest and say Jose Aldo won that fight. But damn, at 2 minutes into that third round, Jose Aldo looked up at the clock. He saw there were 3 minutes left, and his eyes just got huge. Like, oh shit!
Like he saw a ghost.
Yeah, Jose Aldo gassed hard, dude. But he also went for the kill, dude. Ended up being was it split decision or was it like unanimous decision for Aimon Zahabi?
I thought it was actually unanimous. But it could have been a split because it was a close fight.
Yeah. But then Jose retires after the fight, man. The soccer kick that he landed was cool. Shout out Jose Aldo. Any thoughts on this fight, man?
Yeah, Jose Messi Aldo, because man, all those freaking soccer kicks that he was landing there in the and the crazy part was like we both were kind of questioning it when it happened. Like, bro, were those legal? Yeah, it was a unanimous decision, by the way. But we were like, bro, were those legal soccer kicks? And like both times they went back on the replay and his hand just got off the ground each
No,
time.
you're allowed to kick them with their hand on it, like on the ground now. That's not a rule.
Oh yes, yes. That's right. That's right. I keep forgetting about that being the rule too. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that being the rule. But yeah, that's absolutely crazy to see Zahabi eat those shots. I thought
And he flew back
round,
like a Johnny Walker knockout. It's like
I heard him in an interview too with I heard him with an interview with Ariel this week. He was talking about how when he had that shot landed on him, I think it was the right hand. He said that he kind of froze up, and he said he remembers when his right hand got caught behind his back. He said in his mind, he's telling himself to bring his hand around, but he said it's stuck. So he's like literally like, oh shit. Like he's seeing himself fall and can't prevent himself from doing it because he has no control over his body because where he's rocked. I thought that was kind of hilarious the way he explained it, but I thought it was a barn burner of a fight. I thought the first round was clearly Jose Aldo. That second round was a coin flip, man. That second round was definitely a coin flip. I even told you when we were live streaming it at the end of that second round, I was like, man, Zahabi ended that round strong. And I thought the first half was kind of a little up in the air. So I thought Zahabi could have edged out that round. And even round 3 with Zahabi getting dropped, what was it, twice? The way, as you said, 3 minutes left, and Jose Aldo's looking like he sees a ghost at the 3-minute mark. Oh, man, this is bad, dude. And then he ended up getting the bad cut on his forehead with the elbow. Zahabi beat him up there bad for those last really 2 minutes in that third round. And I thought really stole it back. And I'm glad they didn't give him a 10-8, but I would not have been surprised if one of the judges had given him a 10-8 in that third round, just because the way Jose Aldo just completely depleted after that flurry.
Yeah. Tough fight. What's your thoughts on Jose Aldo retiring again? Hopefully for the final time, dude. Or what? He'll probably pop back up in boxing a few more times.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think he's just like, you know what? I'm not doing the UFC stuff anymore. As he said, he feels a little bit older. Can't really keep up with the younger competition and stuff like that anymore. So but he was doing the boxing thing before. A little bit easier for him. He was fighting on like the game bred boxing cards and stuff like that. So I can see him taking I hope he doesn't fight against the misfits and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But I could see him doing some stuff like that. Maybe getting a couple in before, cashing in on some big paydays.
Yeah, maybe. Moving on down, Alexa Grasso and Natalia Silva, dude. That fight went exactly how I thought it was going to go, man. Just Alexa Grasso trying to track down Natalia Silva and just getting touched up. There was a moment there, I think, at the end of round 2, like when Alexa Grasso was like, man, I can't track this bitch down. Fuck it. I'm just going to get as close as I can and swing all the punches. And that flurry was cool, but going back to watch it, dude, it's just like, I don't know if Natalia got hit once in that flurry. She just touched Grasso up every time. Solid head movement, man. Natalia Silva is so damn good. She wins via decision, dude, and I think she's a problem for anyone in this division, including Valentina Shevchenko. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a dominant performance from Natalia Silva. I'm going to take it from this angle. She's going to win the title. I think there's only just a matter of time before she ends up getting the title, because I think she could beat Weili or Valentina. I think she is, that good with her footwork and everything. But she's going to hit a point where people are not going to like her anymore. I can very well see, because her style is, I'm not going to say it's not fan friendly, but it's definitely, she's so defensively responsible. And it's obviously, you're not going in there to get hit. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to do and going in there and winning the fight. The fight style is not the most fan friendly at times, to where people are going to say, and you know how MMA fans are, they're all a bunch of meatheads typically. oh, she's running. She's not willing to stand in the pocket and trade. And she's doing this and that and using all kinds of footwork and everything. I can see people getting really frustrated with that style. I think it's going to grow old on fans after a little bit. But in terms of this performance, yeah, it was completely perfect. As you said, kind of what we both had anticipated coming into this fight. And I thought in that flurry, as you said, Natalia Silva may have gotten hit once. I think she got hit once. But that was like a 5-6 punch combo that Alexa Grasso threw. And Alexa Grasso also paid for a few punches as well by doing that.
She was lumped up after.
Yeah, she ate about 2 or 3 herself at during that flurry and only landed one semi-okay shot. So Natalia Silva is definitely going to be a problem for this division here. But yeah, I'm interested to see how fans are gonna, if they're gonna start, because I see a bunch of people now, Natalia Silva fans. Oh, she's saying exactly what I'm saying. She's gonna be champ. She's gonna run this division. I'm just waiting for the tide to turn on her.
Yeah, I want to see Macy against top girls. I love to see her versus Silva. Well, Antoine, you won't have to wait too long because in Atlanta you'll get to see Macy Barber knock out Aaron Blanchfield. I'm calling it now. Macy's going to knock out Aaron Blanchfield, and you'll get your wish. I'll get my wish. I don't even like Macy Barber. That's the thing, and I can see it. I can see it, dude. Anyway, with that being said,
I'm with you, Antoine. I'm high on Macy Barber too. That's my that's my dog. I rock with her.
Yeah. Anyway, last fight on the main card was BSD. Crushed Kyle Prepolek, dude, and this was my heartbreaker, dude. I had so many parlays still in at this moment, and this fight just fisted me, dude. Not even gonna lie. Like I had this fight to go under 1.5 rounds, and we're watching it live, dude. And I'm counting down, and I see it go 233, 232. He's in the head and arm triangle. He's about to tap 231, 230, 229, 228, and then he starts tapping, and the ref steps in at like 226. I'm like, dude, I was tilted, dude. I don't even know how else to say. It's like just the bad beats like that is what kills me the most, dude. Like when it goes to split decision and I get robbed by a fucking judge, all right, and we'll get to one of those, in a minute, but it's just like, dude, that sucks because I'm right, and I guess I was wrong by 4 seconds, but just upsetting, man. What's your thoughts on BSD versus Kyle Prepolek? And then after you go, I have something to point out.
Yeah, I thought that BSD, he went in there, he got the job done as far as, going in there. He did pretty much, I would say, for the most part, especially in the grappling exchanges, he did dominate a lot of those. And honestly, I'll say he looked a lot slicker on the ground this time around. Like, I didn't realize, like, his scrambles, his control and stuff like that. If he actually implements his wrestling, he is good once he gets you down to the ground. That dude eats a lot of shots, man. And it was why when going against Dustin Poirier, I was like, dude, Dustin Poirier is going to light this dude up. I mean, Poirier is a sniper. You're going to leave your head on the center line for him, man? I mean, dude, Kyle Prepolek was landing pretty decent shots on BSD. Now, BSD was, when he had Prepolek backed up against the fence, he was landing those big shots. I think he went with a body head combo. He probably ate about 4 or 5 unnecessary punches when he could have just been, I'm not going to say a little bit more careful because obviously that's not BSD's style. But, dude, it's just almost like he doesn't know what head movement is at certain points. And he was getting lit up a bunch. I'm thinking Joel Alvarez might have ate him up the other night, dude. Like, I think Joel Alvarez would have smashed him. I'm just being honest. I know BSD. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He did say that after the fight that, hey, I haven't had a lot of fights yet. I'm getting a lot of this experience as I'm going. Man, I think if he almost got the push way too quick to where he can't go back now. But I don't see him having much top tier success in this division. I don't. Like, I don't know if he beats Gamrot. I mean, I don't know if he beats Gamrot. I don't know if he beats Joel Alvarez. I think BSD is a fun fighter, but in terms of realizing his top potential as far as, becoming champion or whatever aspirations people had for him, I'm not as high on BSD, especially after this performance.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is you kind of touched on it, but how right was I in the stream when I was like, he's gonna throw a body kick, and then take dudes down and hop on his back, and that's exactly what happened. But Kyle Prepolek ended up getting back up, and you touched on it, dude. Kyle Prepolek was touching up BSD, and like at certain moments, I don't want to say he wobbled BSD, but I was like, dude, if he would have gotten knocked clean out there, I wouldn't have been surprised one single bit, dude. Just because, as you said, he was getting touched up so much, dude. And I guess I didn't ever really see it that much because in all the BSD fights before, like the Poirier fight, we didn't really see him on the feet for too long. Like, like all of his fights were like one round. He was just like mashing these dudes. But now I definitely see what you're talking about. And I agree, dude. I'm going to be hesitant picking BSD against anyone with decent striking, dude, because he does get touched. He does get touched quite a bit.
Dude, and one more that also I saw this one the other day too, and I actually remember it in real time when it happened, and I was like, dude, he's getting touched up a little bit. Thiago Moises. If you go back and watch that fight, there's moments where same thing, BSD has Thiago Moises backed up against the fence. Like, dude, Moises lands like a 3-punch, like it's like hook, uppercut. Like, dude, like he was landing like big shots, and Thiago Moises doesn't have the most power. But yeah, BSD is going to get cracked again, dude. And again, I think if Joe Alvarez was in there, Joe Alvarez would have cracked him.
I think he would have put him out.
I think he would have too. Probably first round.
Joe Alvarez is a big guy, dude. All right. Anyway, let's run through these prelims real quick. We got Mike Malott knocks out Charlie Radke at the beginning of round 2. Unfortunate for Chuck Buffalo. Unfortunate for Chicago all around this past weekend. They lost their champion, and then Charlie Radke lost in Canada. But there is some news for Chicago. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Jazz does get the first round submission over Jessica Andrade. Great, because I had Jazz by finishing a few parlays, but I did have Jazz sub 2-3 and more parlays for a bigger number. So I'm a little bit upset on that one, not going to lie. The robbery was Modestas Bukauskas versus Iwan Kutalaba. I thought Iwan clearly won the first 2 rounds. Okay, he lost the third, but I don't know how a judge could give 30-27 to Modestas or Iwan, dude. So what were the judges watching in that fight? Were they on their phones or something? But like, hey, I'm going to pick this guy. You're going to pick this guy? Yeah, let's let him decide who wins this fight. That's exactly what it seemed like, dude. And then Navajo Sterling wins via decision. Should have won via 3rd-round knockout, but it's almost like the ref was just in there just watching the fight like, is anyone going to stop this? Oh, that's supposed to be me? Oh, shit, all right. And then after the sequence was already over, dude. I didn't understand that. And then early prelims real quick I clicked. Oh, come on now. Don't do that. It's going to fight night. Anyway, Marc-Andre Barriault kills Bruno Silva, dude. Went out on a stretcher trying to get out of selling Kias this week. Did it work or no?
No, and I did get the dent out though.
You got the dent out. All right.
I used the paint dent removal guys we got, and they went ahead and just popped it right up.
Fair enough. And the one that broke us all this past weekend, the one that ruined all of our parlays early, was Daniel Santos, Willie Cat, getting it done over Ji Young Lee. Fat Willie Cat at that, dude. Can you believe the Willie Cat came into the UFC down at 125 and he's missing weight up at 145, dude? And then in the cage, he's got love. He looks like me if I was to go in there right now and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go fight at 170 right now, dude. That's what I would look like in the octagon, dude. Not good. It's just not a good look. Gets dropped by Ji Young Lee in the first round, and then Ji Young Lee just decides that he wants to get wrestled for the next 12 and a half minutes and not do anything. So Daniel Santos wins that fight via decision, and Bezcat Almakhan comes through early for me. Smokes Brad Katona with like the first punch that he lands. fight ends 1:04 into the first round. Anything on any of the prelims that you would like to touch on, Deros?
Yeah, I don't know how that Navajo Sterling fight, like, dude, in the third round, like, I forgot the guy's name now, but he literally fell on his face.
Urslan?
Yes, Urslan, dude, he fell on his face twice, and like that second time, like he barely picked himself back up. Now, did he get up, fend himself? Yes, he did, but dude, he was literally getting bombed on there. That whole last probably 2 minutes in the third round, he's just getting teed off on. Like, dude, whoever had Navajo Sterling by decision, I credit to you, but I also feel for you because I can imagine the limit booty that dude had. Just
No,
watching that.
you know who had Navajo Sterling by decision? That fucking ref. That's why he
Yeah.
didn't stop it.
Like, dude, I'm like, dude, somebody has to be clinching here, like, because there's no way that this fight has not been stopped. But you know, it is what it is. Man, Charles Racky is another one, dude. I thought he was going to be able to sneak one in there for us against Mike Malott, but you know, Mike Malott, good bounce back performance from him, man. You know, he looked sharp, landed good combos, got the nasty finish, sat Racky down on his butt. Racky had the whole crowd screaming "F you, Racky!" Like, dude, that was absolutely hilarious. So, hey, credit to Racky for, I guess, really bringing a lot of attention to that fight that otherwise might not have been there.
Yeah.
Willie Cat, dude. Willie Cat freaking throwing around Ji Young Lee like that. Like, dude, like that kind of started my night in a sour mood. Like, thank goodness the fights were like pretty good for the most part. But dude, like, if the fights had been bad, like from there on out, and I would have lost, like you said, a lot of parlays early on because I was dumb enough to put Ji Young Lee in there. Yeah, I would have been. It probably wouldn't have been a good live stream, at least. Let's just say that, because that was one that I ain't gonna lie, that hurt. And then Jazz as well, dude. Jazz having the performance she did, dude, that was absolute savage stuff, dude, and made it look easy too. That was the part that I was very shocked about. Was that, did I anticipate her to win? Yes, we both predicted it. We both predicted by submission. I said second round. I think you said third round. But we were both predicting submission. I did not think she was going to just roll through her and just throw her down in the first round and get her out of there. So Jazz is someone who, I told you, I've increasingly become a fan of her each fight. And even more so now, man. She's awesome. She's a badass. And man, she's here to stay in this division. She's not here to joke around. And yeah, she's been looking sharp, man. So good card overall. As I said, I thought it actually
get the rematch, Jazz versus Natalia Silva for the championship.
Hey, who knows? Even if she'll probably get smoked again, but
yeah,
we'll see about that. I think Mark Andre Barrios. Yeah, we'll say that real quick. Mark Andre Barrios, absolutely brutal to Bruno Silva. I don't know Bruno Silva. He didn't announce anything about retiring, did he? But yeah,
dude,
I think
before his last fight, he said that he didn't want to do this anymore. Like, he was like done with it. Like, he didn't have like the motivation for it. And then he's fought 2 more times now. So I don't really understand what's happening, dude.
Right.
Yeah, well, then stop. Then stop doing it. You know, does he need the money? I don't know.
Yeah, because it's a guy that, we've watched him fight, and I've enjoyed watching him fight in the UFC. Yeah. He gave Alex Pereira one of his toughest tests at 185. He gave Alex Pereira a much tougher test than Sean Strickland did, and Sean Strickland's the UFC champion. So, Bruno Silva's a guy that I like watching for a little bit now, but won't be mad if he steps away.
Yeah. Anyway, with that being said, let's get into the chat for a second. Do you guys think they give Benoit another step up? I think if they go to Paris, they'll give him the right matchup. But as far as title contentions, I think it's going to be a little bit before they, give him a title shot. But he's already a little bit older too, though. So I don't even know. What's your thoughts, Theros?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It's UFC fighters get to a point to where it's almost like if they get thrown to the top of the division, it's like they have to either fight a bunch of those guys or they end up getting matched up against up and comers because they're really not that guy. Like, so I think BSD's stuck at a point to where he's going to have to fight somebody amongst the top now. I think he called out like Gamrot, Gaethje.
I think that's the problem with like Ilya right now. Like he just knocked out Max and Volk. Who is he not going to be like a minus 1,000 favorite against? Anyone like at 145, like, it's like, who is he not gonna like? It's almost like the expectation now, like they can't like if I can put him up against top 10 at 155, they have to give him the hardest fight basically now. So I mean,
Right.
I get it.
Yeah. I think he's going to end up getting matched up against another top guy, even if I don't think he's that guy. But if he goes on to lose that fight as well, I think you'll start seeing, like, not maybe like guys coming straight off the Contender Series, but you're going to see all of a sudden, hey, this hot young prospect coming up, Ignacio Bahamondes, Mauricio Hufi. You're going to start seeing BSD get matched up against guys like that if he doesn't get matched up against them already, because, again, I don't know if he has that high potential.
Yeah, we'll see. Sucks Brad lost at home. That's his first loss via KO. That is what happens. Who do you guys want next for Best Cat? That's a fun one. I think they should put him on the Azerbaijan card because he should be good to go, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine. As far as who he should fight, I mean, is Tim Elliott still in the UFC? I mean, that's a guy who, he can take a beating at times, but he'll cheat like hell to get the win too. He's going to test you, but I mean, you want to make sure that Begzad is a real dude, and I think Tim Elliott's a good test.
Yeah, I think Tim Elliott fights at 125 though. Yeah.
Why am I thinking flyweight? Yeah,
I mean, he could come back, short notice.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm thinking flyweight. I had in my head, I think it was because he beat Umar, then Umar beat Nate Maness, and I had I don't know. I think I had this weird connection in my head. But
it's all right.
But yeah, send Tim Elliott up and get his ass kicked anyway. Who cares?
Also for Grasso, who do you guys think Alexa should fight next? I don't know. That's a tough one. She's like one of those names now that's going to kind of be like a Holly Holm, in my opinion. Going to stay around the top, but she'll be like that. Jasmine Jasdovicius. There we go. Alexa Grasso versus Jasmine Jasdovicius.
Either Jasmine or I can see Mana Fiora. I can see that fight. I can see Fiora not really being in a spot where she can really go anywhere, but she still wants to fight a top girl. She's going to have the number 1 or 2 ranking.
She's already old though too. Like she's like 35, man.
Right? Yeah. No, exactly. But I could see Alexa and her getting matched up just because, hey, former champion, former title challenger. Doesn't want to fight an up-and-comer, so why not fight each other? So I can see that happening.
Yeah. Only one remaining is Kamara at number 4. He's fighting Joaquin next month. Yeah. Yeah, because Khamzat's up at 185 now. Colby's not for sure not in the top. Neither is Gilbert. Neither is Masvidal. Yeah, man.
Vicente Luque.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's an interesting one.
But that's how the sport works, though. I mean, I think really besides lightweight and then, featherweight, you could say it's been Alex and Alex and Max for a long time. But in terms of down the rest of the division, the sport moves so fast, man, and. Even lightweight, days with, Tony Ferguson and Habib and all those guys, you don't see those fighters around just because the sport moves so fast. Fighters age so fast just in terms of damage, wear and tear and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's no surprise to see a lot of upshifts.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's still ranked at all, Antoine. I don't think he should be. With that being said, before we get into the bean eating, D-Rose, we have to announce something, dude. This podcast play of the week, it started off strong. It came out hot, dude. I think we hit what 6 in a row, and then we
Something
like
like that.
lost one, then we like won a couple, and then I don't think we've hit this shit in about a month, dude. So I think it's time to put it to rest. We gotta put it to, we gotta put it to rest. We gotta say our graces. The podcast play of the week is no more. What we had been doing was taking my favorite play of the week, taking D Rose's favorite play of the week, and putting them together in a parlay and seeing if it cashes. The issue was I think we started out kind of shaky because you didn't want to play some of my favorite plays of the week, but I would still play yours either way. And then once they started cashing, you're like, fuck it, I'll just play it. And then, we cashed for a few weeks. And then there was a few weeks that I think like you would win and I would lose, or I would win, you would lose. And then for a few weeks in a row, dude, we both lost them. And then this past weekend, I really felt good about it, dude. I had Natalia Silva 3-year decision, and you had Manon Fior money line, and then we end up losing that shit again, dude. So that's it. It's it. No more podcast play of the week. However, I haven't told D Rose what it is because I want to get a live reaction, get a little giggle from him. We are still going to give y'all something from each card. It might not be a parlay, but it will be some kind of bet. Me and D Rose will cook up live here on the show every single week. So stay tuned to the end of the show for that. But with that being said, this past weekend, D Rose, our different picks for UFC 315 in Canada were Bezkat Almakhan versus Brad Katona, Iwan Kutalaba versus Modestas Bukauskas, Ayman Zahabi versus Jose Aldo, and Jack Della Maddalena versus Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. We threw out Ayman Zahabi versus Jose Aldo because I didn't feel great about that one, and which leaves us Bezkat versus Katona, Kutalaba versus Bukauskas, and JDM versus Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. And in those, I had Bezkat Almakhan, Iwan Kutalaba, and Jack Della Maddalena, and you had Brad Katona, Modestas Bukauskas, and Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad, which means I go 2 of 3, and that means I win the pick champ back this week, which means D Rose is going to be eating bean boozled.
Man, hell no.
Yes.
God. I hate this game.
D Rose, let me know.
The Beanbot does stop. Why can't the Beanbot rest in peace, man? Not the podcast.
D Rose did let me know that, he was like, man, I ain't even ate my dinner yet. I'm like, well, that's good. So when you eat these beans, you won't be throwing up your dinner. So with that being said, D Rose getting
Bilal
beans.
won that fight, man. I don't care.
I don't know what you're talking about. The worst part about this whole situation is it should have been a clean sweep because the judges gave Modestas Bukauskas that damn fight, dude. Should have been clean sweep. You would be eating 3 beans right now, man. 3, but unfortunately, you only got 2. Which bean is the undisputed worst? For me, I think it's barf actually tastes like throw up. So when I throw up, it really doesn't taste that much different. So that one's bad, but I mean, it's not too much different than what cups up. For me, I feel like I've gotten it so much. I've got to go Old Bandage is probably the worst for me. Or Dirty Dishwater is a close second.
Yeah, I would say Dead Fish is one of those for me. I'm looking at these right now. I'm kind of, slowly begrudging these. Man, I don't know. All of them are bad. Dead Fish, freaking Booger, and as y'all probably saw a couple weeks ago, Wet Dog, man. Gosh, I'm not gonna lie. That one has climbed the charts for me as far as the worst ranking bean. This junk is nasty.
What's the worst food you ever tried, D Rose?
Worst food I've ever tried. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head because I'm not that particular of a picky eater. But like a food that I don't like that a lot of people do And I think you might have saw it when I came up there the last time, are like beans. Any type of beans. Black beans, baked beans. I don't care what kind they are. I cannot stand the texture of a bean. Like it's squishy and slimy and grainy as well. And it's just something about it that I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't. That's one thing you would not catch me eating, is any type of, again, black beans. I know that's famous at a lot of Mexican restaurants and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get that mess out of there. Other than that, I'm pretty much open just about it.
What about like refried beans, like the ones that are like,
Nope.
like fucking mashed up, like already,
Nope.
like, because they're not like a, you don't
I can
chew it
taste.
up. It's already.
I can taste like not like the shell.
I
But
got
you know what I mean.
I
It's
got
kinda
you.
like the
Yeah.
skin. No,
I
I'm
got you.
good.
Okay, fair.
I'm good.
Um,
I've tried
for-
it. I have tried it, but I just can't do it.
All right, for me, Antoine, it's I don't eat seafood, so I think the first time I ever tried sushi, I that was a rough one for me. I spit that shit out immediately. Not a fan of most seafood. Occasionally, I'll have like a crab cake, or I'll like eat like one of the shrimps at the hibachi place. But that's about as far as I go into seafood. You won't catch me eating fish, no lobster. I've tried it, dude. It's just not my thing, dude. I think the worst thing for me is the smell of it, because I'm scarred from in my childhood. Fuck my dad, by the way. Yeah, he used to like cook fish sticks all the time. He was like, well, if you're hungry, that's what you'll eat. And I was scarred from my childhood from eating fish sticks, like that smell. So if any like fish has that like fishy smell, dude, nah, dog, I'm done.
That's funny.
All right. The bibbity bean bop and it don't stop. All right, D-Rose, let's get into the bean bop.
You gonna
man.
hit the tunes?
Hit the tunes.
Yeah, hit the tunes, man. Yeah, this is old classic, man. Like, we could try to mess around with the other beats and stuff like that, but we know what it is. It's the bean bop, and it don't stop. Man, I can't freestyle this week. I'm freaking eating the beans. I gotta lock in on this. I can't go off the top. What we gonna get here? Oh, I poured 2 out. I gotta get 1. Hey, it's the bean bop. And it don't stop. Oh, yeah. Oh, please stop. It's either gonna be peach or bar. Speaking of can't stop, don't stop. What about the Diddy allegations, man? Shit's crazy. The wild world we live in, boys. Down that.
It's peach.
Peach, baby, let's go.
I can tell. I was like, he's giving it too many shoes.
Yeah. Let's go. 1 for 1. We'll do it. Hey, okay. It's the bean bop.
Well, now he's getting
And
confident.
it don't stop.
He's gonna end up getting wet dog
Hey.
now.
And we got 1. Oh, I thought I did. What is this? It looks like shit. Oh, no.
Is it booger?
No. Top banana or wet dog?
Wet dog. Come on. Give us a wet dog. Give us a wet dog. Wet dog, wet dog, wet dog, wet dog.
Down the hatch.
Wet dog, wet dog, wet dog, wet dog. Man, fuck
Top
you.
banana, baby.
Fuck
honestly,
you, dude.
Honestly, it
What
tastes like
the
vanilla
hell,
extract.
man? What the hell, man? Why? Like, I'm steady getting 2 bad beans every week, and I'm pretty sure Dave called this last, like on the stream Saturday. He was like, D Rose going to get 2 good beans. I'm calling it.
Let's
Look,
go, Dave.
he did call it. Fucking
My
bean
dog-
gate.
My dog put it into existence. My dog put it into existence.
Oh man.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. We in here.
Man, I'm upset. Cut the music. Cut the music.
We in here, baby.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
It tastes like vanilla extract, but you know
Well,
what? I'll take it.
I wanted it to taste like a fucking wet dog and you throw up, but that didn't happen.
Let's go, team, Bob. What to say?
All right.
I'm not gonna lie, my heart, dude. Like literally, if you could feel my heart right now, like my heart was pounding so hard because I did not want that to be a wet dog. Like the first one feels barf would have been fine, but
yeah. Anyway, so that was it. Let's get into our UFC news and fight announcement. So I'll share my screen and we will go ahead and jump into it, D-Rose. So first thing I have, I think it was a rumor last week, but this week it is official. 4 days ago, we actually have a location. And the reason why I wanted to stop on this one is because of the location, because we got some more fights here as well. I'm not sure. Nope, just some pictures. But there's another fight on this card that I do want to talk about that I know I don't have a little picture of. Robert Whittaker, Renier de Ridder, July 26th, UFC Fight Night, Abu Dhabi. It's going to main event. So 5 rounds, man. What's your immediate thoughts on this fight actually being true now?
I think that's a good fight. And look, RDR, he's coming in. He's made a good impression of himself, so far in the UFC. He's, had some good wins. He's taking a major step up. Now he's going from Bo Nickel to a guy who's had 7-8 fights in his career to this point to former UFC middleweight champion who's fought nothing but the best. So it's not gonna be an easy fight, but I think that's a good matchup, man. RDR has, again, I'm a guy who's big on fighters having experience, getting to certain levels in the game. And RDR does have that experience outside of the UFC before coming in. So I think it's a really good fight and a really good test for both guys.
I would like to see a face-off between RDR and Alex Pereira just to see the size of the fellas. Anyway. Like, what's
Look at the size of the fella.
What's Rob going to think of the size of the fella? That's what I'm worried about.
The size of that fella.
Yeah, anyway.
He's a big fella.
And the other one that I don't have a picture of, so I'll just pop our beautiful faces up right here real quick, is one that did get announced after the fights this past weekend. Little soon of a fight announcements for me. He just now knocked out, our guy D Rose. You can see that there's a little shadow on his head from the dent that was there this past weekend. Other side. There we go. Marc-Andre Barrio.
No, it is this side. This is because he was down like this, right?
No. I was saying like the shadow that I saw was just on the one side of your head. And then it wasn't on the other side. So I just pointed out the shadow. Anyway, Marc-Andre Barrio already gets a rebooking, dude, for this same fight in Abu Dhabi, dude, against none other than Shara Bullet Magomedov. So Shara Bullet Magomedov did not retire. Going to be fighting Marc-Andre Barrio July 26th. What's your thoughts on this? Too soon of a booking for MAB?
I mean, not really, just because he got booked he had a pretty quick fight against Bruno, and he might be just trying to get back on the horse, get a little bit of extra money, whatever the case may be, or getting what he could deem a favorable matchup. Because I mean, was Marc-Andre Barrio on a
losing streak?
2, 3, 4, something like that. I mean, he was on. I mean, we were talking about him getting cut from the UFC after that fight. And I think right now, a guy like Shara, a guy who has not proven his takedown defense yet, and I think can be susceptible to that. That's a good matchup for Power Bar. So Power Bar can go in there and get a win. For him to be on the verge of being cut, to potentially getting 2 wins in a row, and against one that's a notable guy as well. That's a feather in MAB's cap. So yeah, I like that. I like that fight. And honestly, I like the matchup for Power Bar.
Yeah, I think I'm the opposite. I think his chin probably wasn't too recovered from getting snoozed against Dustin Stolfoots 6 months ago already. And I just think maybe Bruno didn't offer any kind of resistance really. So I think maybe he's a little bit too confident now. And I think Shara Bullet probably snoozes Marc-Andre Barrio, to be honest. And I'm not huge on Shara Bullet Magomedov. So me and you'll probably pick different in that fight. Yeah, let me bring this back up. That's interesting. I didn't think you would think that, but yeah. So 2 fights, and then we will move on up here. What's your thoughts on Vitor Belfort getting inducted into the Hall of Fame? The joke I made on stream was clearly UFC doesn't have the same standards in UFC Hall of Fame that MLB has in their Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly that. But one of the OGs of the game, he was one of the guys I used to love playing with him on the UFC games back in the day as well. He was just an absolute savage. And that TRT run was one to behold. Him just running through, what was it, Bisping, Rockhold, I think it was Dan Henderson. Like he just blew through those dudes just with nasty head kicks and stuff like that. The dude was ripped out of his mind, and ended up getting another title shot after that. So credit to him, and the run that he was able to have, but ended up getting TRT banned from the sport as a whole, and was solely responsible for that. But other than that, a great fighter, fast hands, explosive, got some badass knockouts. Yeah, I thought it was a cool moment. I think you're on mute.
Yep, I was. I just not saw it. We got Derek popping in. What's going on, Derek? How you doing? And then the legend of Lush, Low Main. Better late than never. What's up, boys? How Lush? You doing, Lush? What's going on, brother? So, with that being said, we'll move on to, I don't know why I always click the next there. That's Jose Aldo retiring. Let's go into some actual news we got. Put out last night, D-Rose. We got UFC 317 International Fight Week is going to be headlined by Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant 155-pound title. Man, I'm excited about this motherfucking fight. Not even going to lie. However, my immediate thoughts of this are, I don't know. I think Ilia is going to dispose of Charles quick and easy, man. I think I would have rather seen maybe Gaethje, maybe, I don't know, someone that's going to offer a little bit more resistance, that's not just going to go in there and get their fucking block knocked off like we've seen happen to Charles multiple times, man. And Ilia's nothing to play with. I guess what's your immediate thoughts on this fun-ass fight, man? Because I cannot wait for this. I'm excited. Love both fighters.
I'm honestly surprised to hear you say that, because I really think like the most notable, star-worthy guy that can give Ilia the most problems in the division that's not Islam would be a guy like Charles. I mean, you could maybe say Arman, but Arman is not that star, and obviously he's in such bad standing with the UFC. I don't even think they're considering anything for him right now. Especially after turning down the Gamrot fight. But I just think, star power, former champion, and we know the skill that Charles Oliveira has. And I mean, look at that run that he went through when he went through Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje within those, those months run of where he was just getting in all these wars with all these guys and still able to come out on the other end. I mean, I feel like Charles has proven himself time and time again to, I'm not to say that he's going to go in there and take every shot from Ilia, but hey, he's willing to take one to give one. He can, he can trade with the best of them as well. And we've seen Ilia get hurt at 155 as well. So I think, Jai Herbert, similar body frame. Charles Oliveira doesn't throw head kicks in the way that Jai Herbert does, but still a lanky guy who does like to use his limbs when he gets a chance. If they get in the clinch, Charles Oliveira is nasty with the knees as well. So I think it's a tough matchup for Ilia. Do I favor Ilia? Yes. But I still think it's a tougher fight than, maybe like Gaethje. I think Gaethje could potentially have the chance to be a more fun fight, but I still think this could be a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's going to be one hell of a fight. I just have to favor Ilia in that fight, though. Who do you guys predict next for the Hall of Fame? Maybe Holly Holm. Who knows? Belfort spoke at my church once. It was fun but weird. I bet. I made it, guys. What's going on, Ken? Hope you guys are doing well. We all hit big this weekend. We can try, Ken. We can try, man. Crazy to see they really made this fight. I would have thought of Ilya versus Armin, to be honest. Yeah. And then we got why didn't they put him against Armin? Yeah. I think it's just because UFC is not a fan of Armin, to be honest. Like I can tell that Armin fights on his terms because he doesn't need the money to fight, and I think the UFC hates that. So he's only going to take the fights that he wants to take.
Well, that and two, they're just still not in good favor with him after the whole title thing. Like him pulling out the day before and stuff like that. Like the UFC hates stuff like that, so they've been trying to rebook Armin, and then he turned the fight down against Gamrot. So I think he just burned them so bad to the point where they're like, dude, screw you. You beat Charles Oliveira, and we're going to put Charles Oliveira in a title fight before you. And plus two, Charles Oliveira, again, former champion and a much bigger star than Armin Tsarukyan is. So the selling point is much better for Charles and Ilya than it would be in Armin. Just because, hey, the UFC is in it to sell pay-per-views at this point, and who's not going to be excited about that Charles Oliveira fight? I mean, I think it's awesome.
Derek, I think that's two different complete situations. You're asking to hold up two divisions opposed to hold up one division, but that's just my opinion on that. I can only imagine how furious they is an arm pulled out. Yeah. I'm going to Chicago for DDP and Khamzat. So let's get into this one. Also announced, heroes. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, August 16th, UFC 319 in Chicago. Does this answer your question about Khamzat entering the United States of America, my guy?
Yes, it does. He's finally in America. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if it wasn't an issue before, he
I think it was all the passport. Like he didn't have the correct passport, and it was hard to get because he was a born Chechnyan refugee in Sweden. And then when he got a passport, it was a Chechen passport, and then it was like kind of associated with Kadyrov. So then when he ended up going to, Abu Dhabi, and he got the Abu Dhabi passport, that's when shit started to work a little bit more in his favor, I think.
Yeah. Well, let's not act
it's
like
all politics,
Dana.
man.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, let's not act like Dana. It might not be in the back pocket of the president of the United States too to work in some favors versus he wasn't in the last the last term. So that could play a big part in it as well. But overall, glad to see this fight finally happen. Glad to see Khamzat being able to come over to America. And just because this is a guy who we have been excited to see for a long time, and only seeing him fight on the October cards in Abu Dhabi once a year just hasn't been enough. I mean, this guy's a big star. He's obviously a bulldozer of a fighter, and people want to see him fight. So glad to see him back in the octagon. Dricus is an absolute tank. Dude's an OG, and I love how, when people were coming out having the rumors saying that he was hurt and this and that with them not announcing them for International Fight Week, he's like, hey, basically y'all gonna fight on my terms, and basically y'all come when I say to come. Like, it ain't no injury, it ain't nothing. We're gonna have an announcement soon. So I love the confidence that Dricus has. I'm gonna love to see the press conference too. I think people are starting to give Dricus more credit now, but previously they were not giving Dricus credit for his mic skills. And I think that could be a potential highlight as well, as seeing Khamzat and Dricus potentially go back and forth at it.
Yeah, indeed. We got Lush saying he's going to 319 as well as Derek, and then Antoine saying that he's not sure this makes it out of the first round. It could, man. You never know. Also, co-main eventing UFC 317 International Fight Week is going to be Alexandre Pantoja taking on Kai Kara-France. You got your wish, D-Rose.
Yeah, well, that, and honestly, it's really just been the fact that this was the fight that they have basically talked about for a while now, and it's just taking them kind of forever to, I guess, officially announce it. But, the official announcement came out the other day. This is one that I've been excited for a little bit, and I think it's going to be a fun fight, man. So, yeah, and honestly, Pantoja, for the most part, when do his fights not deliver? I mean, he's been
He's
notoriously he's been notoriously one of the more underrated fun fighters. I don't think people give him enough credit for being fun, willing to go in there and get into a war. But the Steve Verseg, Brandon Moreno, all those performances are great and fun fights. So I think nonetheless for this Conor France fight as well.
Yeah, indeed. Also on the card, I saw a few weeks ago. So Renato Moicano has his own podcast called like the Show Me the Money podcast, and and he was like, Beneil Dariush, I know you got 2 contracts right now, one for Mauricio Hufi, one for me. Sign the fight with me, brother. I take it easy on you. You fight him, he's going to fucking kill you. And it looks like Beneil Dariush signed the fight Renato Moicano instead, dude. What's your thoughts on this, man?
And to be honest, how can you blame Dariush right now?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. I mean, look, you saw how Moicano got handled against Islam on the ground. I'm not saying that Beneil's going to do the same, but he's probably thinking, hey, I can maybe do something like that versus we see Hoofy just absolutely kick the head off of Bobby Green's shoulders, King Green. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I don't want any piece of that. So I can't quite blame him. Hoofy's an absolute savage. Not to say that he's running, but what is the more favorable matchup for him? Oh, it's Moicano, no doubt.
Yeah. And then also on the same card, we got Paulo Bohashinia Costa taking on Roman Kapilov. I guess I should ask you the Paulo Costa fight question. Does this fight happen, D-Rose?
I think you should know my answer, especially because it's not a notable fighter. Not a chance.
You don't think this fight happens?
No. Or at least let's say not at that timeline. Even if it does happen, I think there's a chance that it's going to get pushed back to like August or September or something.
Do you think do you guys think Beneil retires here? I could see him retiring if Moicano goes out there and fucking smokes him. Anyway, we also got this, dude. I know you have probably an opinion on this more than I do, but do you think that maybe UFC could be, saving this for International Fight Week as well? Because if Patchy Mix has been released from PFL, where else is he going to go besides the UFC? And UFC for sure going to scoop him up.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to scoop him up. It's been something that, PFL, they have botched a lot of the top tier Bellator fighters. I don't know what
all of them.
on.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying. Well, and they still got some of the fighters, but in terms of like the top talent, like they have literally burned a bridge with every single time. Aaron Pico, Patricio Pitbull, because they still got Patricky Pitbull, but they some reason they kept a relationship with him, but not Patricio.
I think like McKee's like upset at the whole fucking situation too right now, right? Like he's like, give me a fight, dude.
Yeah, McKee's upset. A lot of the guys are upset. It's just like I don't know how they were able to, and Johnny Eblin, another fighter as well, who has also been complaining about, hey, these guys aren't keeping me active enough. I want to fight enough. This and that. So
I'm let you speak on this while I go grab something else to drink. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's just head scratching to see what PFL has done with a lot of the top Bellator talent. And I understand you can't just keep paying those guys. Okay, they're going to go to the UFC anyway. We want to see them come to the UFC. Me personally, I've been a guy who I've been a fan of Patchy Mix for a little bit now, and he's a very tough dude. He's got a very well-rounded ability. To me, he kind of reminds me of like a little bit of a Charles Oliveira, to where he's got nasty Muay Thai. He's got good striking. His hands are good, but his kicks are better, and he works nasty in the clinch. And once he gets the fight down to the ground, dude, his submissions are so slick. He's married to Tatiana Suarez, and he's the main trainer partner for her in the wrestling and jiu-jitsu department, from what I understand. So yeah, he's super slick, man. I've told Matt for a long time that he's a guy that I've definitely been excited about coming to the UFC for a little bit. I've been wanting him to come over. and we might be finally getting that wish. So I would love to see him matched up maybe against somebody in the top 10. I don't think International Fight Week is going to be a thing for him, just because honestly, with International Fight Week, it's, a month and a half away. I don't think they're going to throw him to a match that quick, but it seems like it's writing on the wall that the UFC is going to be his next landing spot.
Makes sense. And you said something. Oh yeah. You guys remember Clint from the Die Hard MMA podcast that I had on the Change of Cheddar not too long ago. He thinks the Patchy Mix is the best bantamweight in the world, so that he could come in and beat Marab and Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen right now. What's your thoughts on him being the best bantamweight in the world, Dearest?
Yeah, I think he's right up there. I would like to see him come to the UFC to prove it, but if he goes in there in a matchup against a Peter Yan and he's like a significant underdog or something like that, if he's like a 2-1 underdog, I'm taking that bet and running with it. Like, there's no way I'm not, because he's beaten Magomedov twice, and Magomedov was a guy who had beaten Peter Yan back in the day as well. So I think Patchy Mix is just as dangerous as anybody at 135, and I think he potentially could be the champ.
Fair enough. We have another announcement here. We got Tatsuru Taira taking on Amir Albazi, UFC Fight Night. So this will be in the Apex, UFC Apex main event for August 2nd. What's your thoughts on that one?
That's a pretty good fight. I think that's good matchmaking. Both guys are kind of in a spot where they both lost to, Tyra lost to Roy Ball and Albazi lost to Moreno. So really, he lost to Kai France too, but we can get into that at a later date. But two guys coming off of losses against top guys, this is a fight to see where both of them are at.
Indeed, and then we have the main event for UFC Nashville. We got Derek Lewis versus Taliesin Teixeira, dude. And we didn't know a lot about Taliesin Teixeira, and we found out in our last fight. Yeah, I don't feel too good about this for Derek Lewis, if I have to be honest, D-Rose. I'm going to be betting the under. That's for sure, though. What's your thoughts on this, man?
Wait, who did Taliesin Teixeira fight in his last fight?
Who was it? I know I picked against them. I picked against them.
And the only reason why it was Tafa, right? Was it Tafa?
Yeah. It was Justin Tafa at that. Not even Junior. It was Justin Tafa.
Man, I don't know if I can pick against D-Lou, man.
I'm gonna be betting the under. I'm betting the under.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's not a bad bet to take.
The thing for me is how tall he is. He's like fucking 6'7".
Yeah, and that's definitely gonna be tough for Derek Lewis. But Teixeira's 8-0. Not a lot of fights, man. So just going in there, if you don't run Derek Lewis over early, who we've known Derek Lewis to be a very tough dude for a long time, if he doesn't get him out of there early, we know how Derek Lewis in the third round needing a KO is. He gets him.
Indeed. Let's see if West Till Death got anything posted. Did you see that Cheeto pulled out against the Mario Bautista fight on UFC 316?
Well, it's a good thing, because if Cheeto wanted to be in the most boring fight in the world, he would have fought Mario Bautista, but he didn't want to do that because it's not in his blood. So he was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Fair
enough. Let's see. We got that one already. Got that one. Cost to be a fan in 2025, D-Rose. If you pay for ESPN Plus and all the pay-per-views, it's $1,000 per year. If you were only the ESPN Plus, $120 a year. But if you got Fight, I don't know who the fuck also has fucking Fight Pass too. I'm not also buying that. Level 4, you're in need of drama. Expensive to be a fan, huh?
Very much so. And hopefully this Netflix deal coming around, they work on that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. We got Nikita Krylov taking on Bogdan Guskov, also in Abu Dhabi, July 26th. What's your thoughts on that one? Damn, didn't fucking Krylov just get snoozed? by fucking Dom
Uh,
Reyes?
Yeah, and didn't Anthony Smith
Damn,
just get
dude.
snoozed by Zhang Miang? I mean, what's Anthony Smith doing turning around this quick, man? I thought he retired. But
I was like, "What are you
yeah,
talking about?" And then, and then it clicked Torius. I was like, "What are you talking about?"
yeah, the Russian Anthony Smith, man, he's back
Yeah.
at it again. Yeah, as you said, Krylov just got snoozed, and Guzkov is the guy who can punch. And honestly, I'm not going to say he's a cleaner boxer than Reyes, but I would say the more dangerous. He's more dangerous than Reyes. You know, I think he's got a multitude of ways to win. He's got submissions. He's got power in his hands. I think that's a good fight, and yeah, I'll be excited for that. That's another one I might consider taking the under in as well.
Yeah. And that's the last one that I have, D-Rose. I'm not gonna go on and keep drawing that out. So with that being said, let's see if what you guys got to say. I'm happy, thank you. Says Dave, yes, sir. Me fighting Amir Albazi. Do you guys think Tires is a future champion? I think at some point he probably will be. How about you, D-Rose?
125 is tough, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to say he's not good, because obviously he is, but it's a little top heavy right now, man. So I don't know. It's going to be tough.
Russian link. Come on, D-Rose. What fight do you guys like? What fights do you guys like the most? I'm not sure what you're asking, Antoine, if I'm going to be honest.
Out of the announcements?
Maybe. For me, I don't know. Probably Ilya Charles. I like Ilya Charles.
Yeah. For me, it's got to be Hamza DDP. I just think there's two. They both obviously start in different ways, but we know how we know the brute force that Dricus is, and we know the absolute wrecking ball that Hamzat is, especially in the first round. So I'm just so curious to see, is Hamzat going to be able to go in there and just throw Dricus around like that? And if he does for the first couple minutes and Dricus gets out of those tight situations, we've seen Hamzat kind of gas. You don't want to gas in front of a guy like Dricus, man, because Dricus is going to make you pay. So I'm excited to see that fight the most.
Do you guys think Charles retires if he loses to Ilya? No, I don't.
Nah, because honestly, he's got a lot more paydays left, and he showed that is he taking a little bit of a step back in terms of speed and stuff, sure, but he's still Charles Oliveira, and he's still got it. So I can see him still sticking around.
Yeah. So with that being said, oh man, I gotta stop sharing because I know that I didn't click sound off, and we're gonna get some Colgate commercials on here. All right. So with that being said, L'Oreal, it's gonna be something, dude. With that being said, let's get into
while I jump to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah. With that being said, let's get into it for the fights for this weekend. We got in the main event, we've got Gilbert Burns taking on Michael Morales in the UFC Apex. Fights taking place Saturday, May 17th. Prelims going to be starting at 4 p.m. East Coast time. Once again, at the UFC Apex, we've got 12 fights. Once again, also headlined by Gilbert Durino Burns taking on Michael Morales. Co-main event is the Bear Jew Paul Craig taking on Rodolfo Bellato. In the featured fight of the night, we got Sadiq Youssef taking on Myron Santos, the legend of Myron Santos. We also have Nursultan Black Rizaboev taking on Dustin Stolfus. We've got Juicy J, Julian Arosa taking on Melky Coffee, Mazikiel Costa. We got Matheus Camillo taking on Gifted Gabe Green. We've got Jared Flash Gordon taking on Thiago Moises. We have Connor Matthews taking on Yaidir Devalle. I think that's how you said it. He's Cuban, so I'll find out this weekend. We've got Luana Santos taking on Tainara Lisboa. We've got Denise D. Gomes taking on Elise Reed. Hyung Sung Park taking on Carlos Hernandez, and the opening fight of the card is Luana Pinheiro taking on the Tiny Tornado, Tisha Pennington. Fights that did fall off the card were Jung Young Park, Iron Turtle taking on Nasruddin Imavov, Muhammad Usman versus Hamdi Abdelwahab. Sergey Spivak versus Shamil Gaziev was also going to be on here. Curtis Blades versus Rizvan Kuniev was rescheduled for this. Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Dustin Stolfutz. But Dustin Stolfutz is going to be fighting Nursultan on here. And Mavsar Evloya versus Aaron Pico. We're still waiting on UFC debut for Aaron Pico. You back, dears? Yeah.
We back.
Okay. All
We
right. So, with that being said, what's your thoughts on the fights as a whole, man? I know it's a UFC Apex card, but what's your thoughts?
It is very much a UFC Apex card. That's kind of like that's really the best thing I could say for it. I mean, interested to see the main event. I cannot believe Michael Morales is that big of a favorite against Gilbert Burns. I mean, it just feels just completely disrespectful. There's a couple. I want to say there's a couple good ones, but oh gosh. I mean, there might be. I mean, I the Sadiq Yusuf Myron Sanchez fight. I think that could be a potentially a fun fight. Other than that, man, this is gonna be. Hey, Rosa and Costa as well. Hey, that could be a pretty fun fight too. But it's gonna be a rough night, boys. I'm saying. I'm pretty lenient with these cards sometimes too, but C-, man.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I wouldn't give it much more, but I have to be honest, D-Rose, I've probably done more research on these fights this week than I normally have this early into the week. So I'm feeling a little more confident than I probably should, if I have to be honest, but it's not without reason, dude. So I'm going to let you know up front right now, this is one of those weeks where I'm either going to be wrong and look dumb and look like an idiot, or I'm going to be right and I'm going to have some money in my pocket come Saturday night, because there's a few pretty solid dogs on here, dude, that I got to be honest, I don't hate, man. And we're going to start off with one. First fight of the night, we've got Luana Pinheiro taking on the tiny tornado, Tecia Torres. Luana Pinheiro, out of her last 4 fights, out of her last 5 fights, she is 3 losses and 2 wins, a decision over Sam Hughes, Michelle Watterson split decision win, got knocked out by Amanda Hebus, got submitted by Angie Hill, and then got decision by Jillian Robertson, but got, that 12-6 right to the brown eye during that fight. Luana Pinheiro is 31 years old, 5'4", and a 62-inch reach, while the tiny tornado, Tecia Pennington, is 14-7 overall. Out of her last 5 fights, she has 3 wins and 2 losses. This is 4 years ago over Sam Hughes, 4 years ago over Angie Hill, 3 years ago over Mackenzie Dern, a year ago over Tabitha Ricci, split decision loss, and Carlos Esparza unanimous decision win 7 months ago. She is 35 years old, 5'1", and a 61-inch reach. For this fight, D-Rose, we know what's happening here. Currently odds for the fight have closed up a little, because earlier in the week it was about minus 400 Tecia Torres. Now it's minus 340 Tecia Torres and plus 270 Luana Pinheiro. Over under here is 2.5. The over is minus 475. The under is plus 325. We know Luana Pinheiro gasses, right? We know she comes out hard in the first round and really don't have shit left the rest of the fight. But Tecia Torres is 35 years old, and I don't know if she could finish, ice cream cone, after dinner. It's just rough, dude. So my thought process truly here is Luana's bigger, man, and we know she's going to win the first round. So what happens, if she comes out round 2 and gets a takedown and is able to just control Tecia Torres the entire round 2? Now Tecia has to finish in that third or she loses 29-28, man. So for me, I'm going to go with a dog here, dude. Give me Luana Pinheiro, plus 270 dog to win this fight via decision by winning the first 2 rounds and it going to greasy split decision. But give me Luana Pinheiro via decision. How about you, man?
Man, that's a bold pick. And, I do think that, Tecia Pennington, she
dumb, by the way.
gets
She was better as Tecia Torres.
Yeah, I mean, Tisha Tiny Tornado Torres. I mean, come on, the alliteration there, man. I mean,
Dude, it's like
just
she's
chef's
like the
kiss.
most like. Have you ever heard of a tornado doing no damage? That's Tisha Torres.
Yeah, that's like a 1 mile per hour like wind gust you get from that thing.
She's like one of those tornadoes that you make in a water bottle.
Yeah. It looks cool, but not necessarily damaging. But no, I think for me, I think she's shown that her takedown defense is very tough for the most part. You know, she made Carla Esparza work in that last fight as well. I know Carla Esparza obviously isn't the best striker, but I think the same about Luana Pinheiro. I think she's not the best striker either, and she gets lit up a little bit trying to get into range as well. And I think where Tisha is a sharp boxer, especially for the women's division, I think that could be something that can give her a leg up in this matchup. So give me Tisha here, and I'm going by decision.
Yeah. I expected this. Oh man, I wrote Luana. There's 2 Luanas on this card. And I'm writing Torres because I already started. Yeah, that's what I expected. I'm pretty sure that's what most people's picking. She is, I mean, she was like a minus 400 favorite earlier in the week, so I'm not surprised that you're picking Tisha Torres. And I think when I first, because every Saturday night, after I'll usually like win some kind of parlay, and I'll like put $3 in whatever changes I have to like get my account to like a nice round fucking number. I do have Tisha Torres already parlayed up, so but it's in like a fucking 9 to 12 leg, so it is what it is. But from this point on, the rest of my parlays, if I am going to be betting this fight, which I'm probably not, will be Luana Pinheiro via decision, because that's what my official pick is here. So me and D Rose split on the first fight of the night. We'll go on to the next one, where we have Young Sung Park taking on Carlos Hernandez, dude. Young Sung Park, Peace of Mind is his fight name, is 9-0. He's from South Korea, 29 years old, 5'7", and a 66-inch reach, while Carlos Hernandez, 10-4 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins and 3 losses, 31 years old, 5'8", and a 67-inch reach. D-Rose, do you notice anything about Carlos Hernandez's last 5 fights?
He fights a bunch of, I don't know. I don't know.
They're all Asians. Like, they're all Asians. Look, Nam Jargel, Tumandumbarel, Ray Saruya, Tatsuru Taira. Okay, Dennis Bondar wasn't. Fucking Alan, like Nascimento wasn't. What does Carlos Hernandez have against Asians? Like, his past 3 fights were all Asian dudes, and now South Korean Young Sung Park, dude. What's your thoughts, man? Like, is there something going on here? Like, did he call up the UFC? He's like, I hate the Asians. Let me fight them. Like, what's going on?
Is there an X involved that could have jumped to the other side? Did he end up getting a bad order of rice or something like that he just holds against them ever since? And he's like, hey, that's why Mexicans make rice better anyway, punks. Is he taking this that serious? I don't know, but that's a funny observation.
Antoine, I don't know if you were around at the time that I used to be so fear. If I would have picked if I would have picked against Luana Pinheiro, I would have brought up that point, because you can ask the Rose. Every other Luana Pinheiro fight, I do bring this up, how she gasses and she has nothing left in the third. But I think we've seen her go to decision a couple times now, so I think she can make it. She ain't winning that third round, but in short, do I think she put on act? Of course. She was not hurt in the slightest from the Brandon Marcos up kick. She was gassed. She was tired. They didn't bring in the stretcher to bring her out of there. Her boyfriend came in there and picked her up off the octagon and carried her out because she was tired. It looked like Gilbert Dorino Burns picking up his brother and carrying him out of the octagon. Yeah, man. For me, it is Hyung Sung Park via decision. I suspect him to just wrestle Carlos Hernandez all 3 rounds, man. Odds for this fight, Hyung Sung Park minus 180, Carlos Hernandez plus 150. Over under here is 2.5. The over minus 250. The under is plus 190, man. Yeah, Hyung Sung Park via decision. Just 30-27, just wrestling them all 3 rounds. It's going to be boring as all hell, but that's what he does, man. And Carlos Hernandez cannot stop a takedown. What's your thoughts here, man?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, like Carlos Hernandez, he has good experience against, a bunch of good guys. I thought he did pretty well against Ray Surya in terms of like the takedown defense and stuff like that. He was able to survive a lot of those instances as well. And, for me, again, I said it last week and I don't know why I did it. Terrible analysis for me, but I kept saying that I don't know why I picked Jung Young Lee last week. He's one of the road to the UFC guys. Those guys typically are not that great coming into the UFC. I know Hung Sung Park. Wow, I'm really messing this up here. That Park had so a couple wins in the UFC now, but his last one was against Shannon Ross. I mean, the chicken tender himself, Shannon Ross. I mean, come on, dude. Like, I'm not going to take you that serious. Give me Carlos Hernandez here. I think Carlos Hernandez ends up getting it done by decision. I think he ends up getting into a little bit of maybe like a wrestle scramble fest. Carlos Hernandez you're right, is not good with the pressure is on him in the wrestling, but when he can apply the pressure, that's when you notice that he can get a lot of his takedowns as well. I think Carlos Hernandez gets it by decision.
All right. Split again on the second fight of the night. Look at us, D-Rose. Moving on to the third one, where we'll be the same here. I can promise you that. We got Denise D. Combs taking on Elise Reed. D. Combs, one of my personal favorite WMMA fighters, if you guys don't know. One of the biggest ones that I cashed them dollars on when it happened, because everyone was real high on Yasmin Haregi. And, she's a good fighter. I'm a fan of her, but seeing her in her previous fights get cracked, I knew that if she got touched by D. Combs, she was going out. And I cashed on that bad boy. This weekend, she's fighting Elise Reed. D. Combs is 10-3 overall out of her last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss. She's 25 years old, 5'2" and a 63-inch reach, while Elise Reed's 8-4 overall out of her last 5 fights. She has 3 wins and 2 losses. Who'd she beat? Jessica Penne via decision, lost to Lupi. Won against Jinyu Fry, lost to Loma, and won against Melissa Martinez. 32 years old, 5'3", and a 63-inch reach. Speaking of someone that cannot stop a takedown, it is Elise Reed. So the game plan for this is for D. Combs to come in here, maybe throw a couple hooks, go for the double leg, put this girl on her ass, and either ground and pound her or go for a choke, man. Is that not the game plan? Is that not the game plan to beating Elise Reed?
Yeah, and Denise Combs does have that type of talent too.
And she can do it. That's her thing. She is capable of doing so. My worry here a little bit is that she wants to go in here and, like the Angie Hill fight, where it's like, go for the fucking takedown. What are you doing? Like, it's like, if you go in here and have a striking fight with Elise Reed, this could go a different way, dude, because Elise Reed is a good striker. She's got this bladed stance like Taekwondo. She's really, she's like a C- Natalia Silva. Doesn't move as fast, but kind of got the same style. And it can be tricky if you don't really know what to do. But she can't stop a fucking takedown. So I'm going to bank on D. Combs going in here and getting the takedown and getting do a first round or second round submission. Let's go round 2, sub D. Rose. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet.
Also, D. Combs has no submissions, by the way, too. Which I've seen her go for them. Which tells me they're in her arsenal.
Which I was going to say, because I'm actually, kind of looking at the stats and stuff on my phone on ESPN now, and I did see that, she didn't have any submissions. I was thinking submission myself as well. Again, I'm with you that, Elise Reed doesn't have that great a takedown defense. Now, Denise Combs does have good takedowns, but she doesn't have the best control sometimes as well. She can lose that from time to time. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stick with Denise Combs. I'm going to go by decision, though.
Okay. Yeah, I don't hate it because if she don't go for the takedown, dude, then this is probably going to decision because I don't think she knocks out Elise Reed. Elise Reed's tough, man.
Yeah, exactly that. I was going to say, I don't think she gets the ground and pound. I think Elise Reed kind of survives the moments on the ground, but I just think Denise Gomes gets a lot of control.
All right, moving on. We have Luana. Do you remember what we called her for the longest?
Live, laugh, love.
Live, laugh, love. Luana Santos is going to be taking on Tainara Lisboa. Live, laugh, love is no longer Live, laugh, love. She's a pretty good fighter, overall well-rounded. Kind of has some weight issues. The one that did it for me was the Stephanie Egger fight. This one, I thought she was going to go in there and get armbarred by Stephanie Egger, but she did not. She went there a weight class up and did what she did, won via decision. Then this happened. I'm upset about that one because I know I ate beans that week because of it, but you know, that's my girl.
Like,
She's fighting in BKFC now. Fighting in BKFC now, by the way, D-Rose.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And then Luana Santos did lose 8 months ago to Casey O'Neill. Tainara Lisboa, we haven't seen her in a damn near, over a year. Who did she beat? Ravina Oliveira? Who is that?
Wow, if you don't know who it is, then that's an issue.
I think I know who it is.
Nah, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Beat Jessica Rose Clark 2 years ago and then wasn't in the UFC before then. So she hasn't fought in a year and a half, dude. I think she had some sort of leg or foot injury that was pretty serious, man. So we'll see how she looks. Also, this fight is at 135 pounds as well. So we got to keep that in mind that it looks like Luana Santos is going to be fighting at 135 now. Anyway, Luana Santos, 25 years old, 5'6", 67-inch reach, while Tainara Lisboa, 34, 5'7", and a 67-inch reach. Odds for the fight are Tainara Lisboa plus 142, Luana Santos minus 170. I'm going Luana Santos to win via decision just because she's been more active. And I know what she brings to the table at this point, as where we haven't seen Tainara Lisboa in a little bit. She's 34 years old. And ring rust is real, man. So give me Luana Santos via decision. How about you, man?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the activity part and activity. And you can even make an argument for. I believe you picked Casey O'Neill against Luana Santos in the last fight as well. Yeah, because I remember I picked Luana Santos, and I was actually surprised to see Luana Santos lose that fight. But she did actually take that fight on relatively. It wasn't like super short notice, but she took it like pretty quickly after that fight against Maria Agapova. Like it was pretty quick. So I think maybe that got caught up to her a little bit to where she wasn't able to focus in on a big camp because she did gas bad in that Casey O'Neill fight. So that's the only thing that's got me a little bit hesitant on Luana Santos, but. I think for someone, Santos has, as you said, she's looked good in her fights in the UFC so far. And I just hadn't seen enough from Lisboa enough yet to feel confident in her. So I am going to go Luana Santos here. I want to go by decision.
All right. Me and you both on the Live, Laugh, Love Luana Santos via decision. Up next, we do have the controller, Connor Matthews. Shout out, Army vet. Former serviceman myself, going to be taking on the Cuban problem, Yadier Del Valle. Dude, this guy, have you looked up any of his highlights yet, D-Rose?
I have not.
Oh man, this dude, he's going to be a problem if I have to be honest, dude. He if there's anyone not UFC level, this guy's going to get him out of there, man. Like, if there's any fucking, like, after this weekend, dude, you're going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. And this matchup, dude, makes the most sense. I understand completely what UFC is doing here. So odds for this fight, Yadier Del Valle is minus 470, the favorite. Connor Matthews plus 360, the underdog. Over-under here is 2.5. The over 2.5, minus 135. The under 2.5 is plus 105. Connor Matthews is 7-3 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 losses and 2 wins. He is 32 years old, 5'8" and a 71-inch reach. Fights out of the New England Cartel. Yair Del Valle is 8-0, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. 28 years old, 5'9" and a 69-inch reach. So, D-Rose, UFC's point to this fight is they're trying to test Yair's cardio. Because Connor Matthews is going to walk in there and get punched, dude. He has no defense at all. He is a straight punching bag. Tough as all hell. Hard to finish. But I don't know if he offers much in return, man. That's the issue. So I think UFC is testing Yair's cardio. Testing one of 2 things. Can you get this tough-ass kid out of there? I say kid, Connor Matthews. Can you get him out of there because he is notoriously tough and hard to finish? Or can you last all 3 rounds and cleanly win via decision? Or do you gas and get finished yourself in the 3rd round? But I think Yair's a problem, dude. He's already been to decision more than a few times. So give me Yair Del Valle. I don't know how to say it, dude. Let's go to win this fight via decision, man. But if you got Connor Matthews out of there, I don't think it would surprise me too much. But Connor Matthews is so tough, man. I just don't know if he gets him out of there, dude. What's your thoughts here?
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think that this fight. I do remember. Yair now. He was on the Contender Series before. He is sharp. But for me personally, I just think that Connor Matthews, I think this is, almost to me, you were taking like a pro Connor Matthews stance where I'm taking it from like I think they're setting this up for Yair to get a nasty knockout. I mean, Connor Matthews has been in fun fights in his first 2, but he has been smoked in his first 2 fights. And Jose Delgado absolutely worked him. And, for him to turn around, get smoked as quick as he did and turn around this quickly. And Jose Delgado's really good. So that's not a bad loss. But,
I'll change
I'm going to. I'm going Yair. I'm going Yair. I'm going 1st round knockout. I think the way Connor Matthews, he's willing to get hit. You're right. He's tough. But Dennis Bazooka, he's one of the Aljo guys. I try to support him because I like Aljo, but he's not that great. But yeah, I think Connor Matthews just gets hit a little bit too much for me. I'm going Yair. I'm going 1st round knockout.
I could see it, man. I could see it, but man, Connor Matthews, he's tough, man. He's tough. We'll see how it goes. Me and D-Rose both on Yair, though. Moving on to the next one, we got Jared Flash Gordon taking on Thiago Moises. I've been flipping back and forth in this one, man. I don't know who's going to win this fight. We got Jared Flash Gordon, 20-7 overall out of his last 5 fights. 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 clash of heads. He is 36 years old, 5'9" and a 68-inch reach. Also, former heroin addict as well. So that means something. Thiago Moises, 19-8 overall. Out of his last 5 wins, 3 wins and 2 losses. He is 30 years old, 5'9" and a 70.5-inch reach. I wish Thiago was more active, I think, D-Rose. Because I feel like he doesn't. I mean, he's fighting 2 times a year, it looks like. But I don't know. I just feel like he's so forgettable just a little bit because the UFC moves so quick, and it's like if you're not constantly making some kind of noise or you're not a fantastic fighter, you kind of get left behind, kind of forgot, dude. And he's a good fighter. He just doesn't do anything very impressive. He has some good wins here and there, but once again, nothing that makes you think he's going to be a top 10 fighter or anything like that. On the other end, Jared Gordon, 36 years old, I would say arguably has more of the star power between the 2 fighters for his loss to Paddy Pimblett, dude, as crazy as that is. With that being said, Jared Gordon's just going to walk forward and just throw hands, and I think Thiago Moises can laterally move enough, drop the body kicks on him, and jab to win a decision. So I think I'm going to go Thiago Moises via decision. Odds for this fight are currently Jared Gordon minus 122, the favorite, and Thiago Moises plus 102, the dog. So basically flip them. Over under here is 2.5. Over 2.5 minus 330. The under 2.5 is plus 240. Which way are you going here, man?
Yeah, I think for me, I think this is a really close fight. I'm with you. This has been one that it's been tough to pick. Both guys, similar experience level. Both have kind of been in the UFC. I would say close to relatively the same amount of time. Maybe a year or two longer for Gordon, but just in terms of, I feel like they've been in the UFC consistently for the last probably 5 years or so, putting in good fights at 155. I think for me, it comes down to for Thiago Moises, a lot of his losses have came against guys who were just, just absolute tanks at 155. You're talking about Joel Alvarez, BSD, Ludovic Klein. Those are guys that are just big, strong, guys who are just going to enforce their will on you. I don't see Jared Gordon as that. Like in the same way you describe Thiago Moises, it's kind of the same way I see Jared Gordon. Is that he's not great at one thing. He's just pretty good at everything. So I don't think he's not like an overwhelming wrestler. He's not an overwhelming boxer. He doesn't have that one super skill asset to where I think if you put a little bit of pressure on Thiago Moises, you can get him out of there. Like if you land big punches at certain times, or if you get wrestling on him, you get him tired out, maybe he could be willing to give up a neck. But I think if you can't push into those limits, he's a pretty good athlete, man. He's got pretty good pop in his hands as well. As I said, his combos are getting better. So I'm going to go Thiago Moises here, and I'm going to go – I think it's going to be a tough fight. I think they're both going to bite down at certain points. Going to have to go for it. But I'm going to pick Thiago Moises by decision.
All right. Me and D-Rose both on Thiago Moises to win via decision. We got a fun one here, D-Rose. Yeah. We got Matheus Jaguar Camillo taking on gifted Gabe Green. You see what weight class is that, D-Rose? 155, D-Rose. Yeah. So Matheus Camillo, 9-2 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he is 5-0, 24 years old, 5'9", and I believe he actually trains out of Extreme Couture in Vegas. Gifted Gabe Green, 11-5 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, he has 2 wins and 3 losses. Hasn't fought since he got snoozed by Brian Battle in the Ooga Booga, D-Rose.
Hey, he's getting himself right. That's what I was wondering what happened to him, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, oh, the Ooga Booga guy. That's right.
Yeah, 2 years since he's fought. He is 32 years old, 5'10", and a 73-inch reach. This is down at 155. Couple things to take away from the breakdown from this fight. Do you know who Matheus is at all, D-Rose?
I'm not familiar with him.
All right. Do you remember a few pay-per-views ago at the press conference when the guy fucking stood up and was like, "Hey, I'm 9-0 Tajikistan fighter. Let me be in UFC." And then Dana White was like, "Come on down here." No. So that guy was set up to fight this guy on Zombie Fight Night in Korea a few fucking weeks ago. Like they actually did the Dana White, like the looking for a fight for this whole thing. So that's how I know who this guy is, because I watched the episode. But yeah, that guy was a straight wrestler, dude. Offered nothing but wrestling. This guy came in, got taken down in the first relentlessly, but then second round started stuffing takedowns and dropping nasty calf kicks on the dude, and then Matheus Camillo ended up winning via decision. So the Tajikistan dude that called his shot at the UFC press conference ended up losing to this guy via decision, and then Dana was impressed with him, gave him the shot against gifted Gabe Green. Gabe Green hasn't fought in 2 years, Rose, and something to take away from this is I think he was training, sparring sometime in the past 2 years and got hit in the chest and was having chest pains, right? Went to the doctor and he was diagnosed with a heart bruise. So he's been recovering from that. But it's almost kind of like a Vicente Luque brain bleed. Like, what does that really mean, to be honest? I'm not 100% sure. So for me, I've seen the type of fighter that Matheus is. He's a dog, and he will last all 3 rounds. Give me Matheus to win this fight via decision, and I don't know how Gabe Green's going to look out at 155. What's your thoughts on this one, man?
Yeah, I'll just be completely honest. Again, not being super familiar, I just saw the highlights of Camilo. It's not like I knew the guy. I didn't know the backstory or anything, so I appreciate you shedding light on that. And I also didn't know the backstory on Gabe Green, and I was actually going to pick Gabe Green before you mentioned that, having the heart bruise. But what on God's green earth is a heart bruise, and how can you come back and fight safely after having your heart bruised? Like, is it going to happen again? You just never know, man. That's, I was going to say take the dog on a guy who's fought a little bit tougher competition. Oh, man. I almost still want to a certain extent, but that's very concerning.
So I shouldn't have told you. I should have let you pick.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah.
Odds for the fight are plus 190 Gabe Green, minus 230 Mateus Camillo. Over
Hey,
under here is 2.5. Over 2.5 plus 124.
This
under.
week. I don't have to put this in the pick champ. But
if it's our only three different ones.
Let's go Gabe Green. But yeah, that health news is not good news.
You better hope we got at least one more, dude.
We will.
All right. With that being said, we've got our third different pick of the night. Was Mateus Camillo versus Gabe Green. Moving on, we got Juicy J, Julian Erosa, taking on Ezequiel Costa. Juicy J is 31-11 overall. Jesus Christ, he's got a lot of fights. Out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. He is 35 years old, 6'1" and a 74-inch reach, while Costa is 23-7 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 4 wins, 1 loss, 28 years old, 5'10" and a 71-inch reach, and fights at a shoot box. But not Diego Lima. So not quite the same style, but also kind of the same style, to be honest. Anyway, with that being said, both these guys beat C-Rod, huh?
Yeah. One finished C-Rod. So that's another.
I think they both finished C-Rod.
Nah, Costa did.
Guillotine, and then yeah.
You might have said. Yeah, so,
anyway.
So yeah, Rosa finished him.
And with that being said, I think Melky is bigger than what he's actually listed here. And I think that comes into account, dude. Also, Julian Erosa's got no chin. I know he's got 3 wins in a row now, but Ricardo Ramos, I wouldn't pick him to win against C-Rod even again. And then Darren Elkins, dude, what can you say? I think he's a little bit got a little bit of hype behind him right now that he don't deserve, man. Odds for the fight plus 142, Julian Erosa. Melky Coffee only minus 170, dude. I cannot not pick Ezequiel Costa to not knock out Julian Erosa here, dude. He's got nasty body kicks, got power, dude. And I think Melky should be a solid minus 250 favorite this week. Let's go round 2 knockout. What about you, man?
Yeah, I'm honestly with you in terms of I'm surprised that Milk Costa, whatever it is, that he's not as significant of a favorite as I think he potentially could be. Because I do think that he's got a lot of ability, and I think this move down to 145 has been a refreshing move for him. Because I'll just be honest, I picked him against Andre Feely, but it wasn't like I was not confident, dude, going into that fight. And then the C-Rod fight, I was pretty damn confident that C-Rod was going to get it done, and C-Rod did not get it done. And I think Costa
not even close though.
Costa looked dominant in that fight, man, for the most part. When he wanted to take down C-Rod, he did and was able to control him for whatever he wanted to. So I think he's got a little bit more finishing ability, and he's a younger guy of the two, where I think Erosa is a dangerous guy, but he's a little bit older, a little bit chinny, and he can be caught in certain situations. So I'm going to go Costa here. I'm going to go second round submission. I think he ends up getting it down to the ground, getting Erosa's back, and maybe getting a rear naked choke, maybe an arm triangle, something like that. But I think he gets a submission win here.
Fair enough. Do you guys know anyone who's ever gotten a surgery? I've been hospitalized. Yeah, I've actually gotten a surgery, but never actually like stayed a night at the hospital. So me and you're the opposite, Antoine. I've 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 gotten a surgery, but never, I guess, spent like days in the hospital or anything like that. What about you, D Rose? You ever, broken a bone, gotten a surgery, anything like that?
The only thing I've ever done really is I fractured my foot one time. That's really the only thing that I've ever done.
Yeah,
And
that's what happened to me. Like I
yeah,
had ankle surgery.
the story on mine is just hilarious, just because I actually broke my foot, or I fractured my foot on a slip and slide. I went
Oh,
to
damn.
slide on my knees on the slip and slide, and I came down on top of my foot and basically bent my foot in half. So that was,
Damn.
but that was, I didn't have a surgery or anything. I was just in a boot for like 2 months.
Gotcha.
Like probably 3 months. I had to do like PT just to, basically I had to like almost learn how to walk again. So that was kind of the crazy part. But other than that, nothing, no major surgeries or anything like that. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Kind of same thing happened to me, dear. It was like I guess so I was actually doing my, I like the physical fitness tests, I like for the Navy, and I end up, twisting my ankle during like the run. But I just thought, fucking twisted my ankle. And then, for like 2 weeks, my ankle like got big as hell. I was like, dude, I need to get this fucking checked out. So I went to the doctor. I was like in a boot for like a fucking month, and then they fucking took it off, and then they did X-rays on it, and they're like, oh yeah, you had a bunch of like bone fragments in there. So my surgery was them cutting my ankle open and getting the extra bone pieces off, and then shaving down the front of it, where I guess my ankle had like fixed itself, but I just had extra bone in there. So I guess I broke my ankle. It fixed itself, but it wasn't too bad. But I had bone pieces in there, so they just took the bones out. So that's the only thing that I ever had as far as surgery. But yeah, was that? No, that for sure was not when D-Rose was a kid, because I would have remembered that. You had to have been an adult.
Yeah, that was like 3 months ago. I was on my slip and slide.
3 months ago, D-Rose got a boot on right now. You're like, yep.
Let me show you this.
Yeah, I had knee surgery and a finger surgery. Most pain I ever had. Oh man, no. Thankfully, knock on wood, I've been pretty safe as far as not breaking any bones or anything like that, like arms or legs or anything like that. I mean, like as an adult now, it's like I'm not going to jump on any trampolines or anything like that, so I should be all right. Anyway, moving on. Up next, we've got Nursultan Black Rizaboev taking on Dustin Stolfoots. Nursultan Rizaboev is 35-9. 35-9-2 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 5 wins and 2 losses. 31 years old, 6'5" and a 76-inch reach, while Dustin Stolfoots is 16-6 overall out of his last 5 fights, 3 wins and 2 losses. 33 years old, 6 foot and a 75-inch reach. D Rose, you see what weight class this is at? 185 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Nursultan going back up to 185. Does much change though, do you think?
Maybe he has better cardio.
Maybe, but I still think he's got a right hand, and that's about it, man. And I know Dustin Stolfoots isn't great, dude, but this last win for me, not that one, not even that one. This one was an eye-opener for me, because when Dustin Stolfoots first came to the UFC off the Contender Series, I was a fan of dude. I was betting on him. I was doing all right here and there. But then the Abu Smagomedov fight happened, and I was like, oh, I can never pick this dude again. But he slowly came back, dude. And the Puna win for me was eye-opening, because I basically had the same opinion of him probably that Puna did. Was this guy can't do shit, because they've trained together, and apparently, everyone in the gym fucking worked this guy, that Sean Strickland couldn't believe that this guy was in the UFC in his weight class at that. So clearly gotten better. Nursultan Rizaboev knocked out Eric McConaughey 2 months ago. not too surprising. The Joaquin Buckley game plan is set, though. This guy can get taken down, and what does he do? Knocked out Cedric Dumas after an eye poke. The Bruno Ferreira knockout when he first came to the UFC, and that was before. Odds for the fight, D-Rose. Dustin Stolfoots plus 240. Nursultan Rizabov minus 298. Over under here is 1.5. The over 1.5 is minus 105. The under 1.5 is minus 125. This is one that I'm willing to be wrong on or be right and have some money in my pocket on. Give me Dustin Stolfoots to win the fight via decision with the Joaquin Buckley game plan. Just go out there, take this, stay safe in the first round. Don't get knocked out in the first round. If he does lose, he's losing by knockout in the first round. If this goes into round 2 and I have a chance to live bet this dude, I'm going to be putting money on Dustin Stolfoots because Nursultan's got nothing past the first round. So let's bank on him getting out of the first round. Give me Dustin Stolfoots to win this fight via decision. I got my pin ready for you to pick the opposite, D-Rose. He's a big old favorite, 300.
Yeah. Go ahead and mark me down for that. I just can't pick Stolfoots just because he still does get hit a little bit too much for me. And that last fight against Powerbar was actually pretty wild. But Powerbar, let's not forget, was putting it on Dustin Stolfoots before he ended up getting caught in that exchange. Ended up getting put out. Like Powerbar was looking good in that fight before he got dropped. And I know you were talking about the Puna fight, what was more impressive for you, but I'm just going off his last 2. I mean, I think Dustin Stolfoots is taking a lot of damage. You know me, I'm not the biggest believer in Nursultan at all. But you know how I've always been. But I do think that, as you said, he's got a pretty good right hand. I mean, you go back, that Cedric Dumas fight, he gets a knockout against him. He literally eye poked Cedric Dumas, and I'm not a Cedric Dumas defender by any means. He literally eye poked him. Then
dude, he's an upstanding citizen. You should be a supporter. What a fine young gentleman.
Definitely need to reconsider some things with him. But no, I'm not saying Nursultan Rizabov is the best, but he does have a pretty good right hand, and Dustin Stolfoots does get hit a lot, so I'm going to go Nursultan. I am with the way you said it should go if Nursultan wins, and that's a first round knockout.
All right, so me and D-Rose split on that one. We will move on to the featured fight of the night. Sadiq Yusuff taking on Myron, the legend Santos. Super Sadiq Yusuff is 13-4 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins, 3 losses. 31 years old, 5'9" and a 71-inch reach, while Myron, the legend Santos, 15-1 overall. Should be 15-2. I picked Myron Santos to win this fight, but Francis Marshall split decision was probably one of the worst ones that I've ever seen, to be honest. Anyway, he is 24 years old, 5'9" and a 72-inch reach. Dude, I said Cedric West. We're just talking about him. Sadiq Yusuff, I've never really been super high on him, right? Like, he's good. He's a good fighter, but him and Mean Hakeem Dawodu, to me, have been 2 fighters that have gotten so much hype and people, glazing so much for being such good fighters. And they're just very underwhelming. Like, they have good performances here and there. I would say that Sadiq Yusuff is for sure better than Hakeem Dawodu. But I don't ever I've never thought at one point, wow, he's going to be the champion one day. That's never crossed my mind. But this fight is kind of one where it's kind of like 2 fighters are crossing paths. Sadiq Yusuff been in the UFC a while now. I'm sure that paycheck is pretty solid now. As where Myron Santos just now got in the UFC, probably makes 10 and 10. I know if the UFC had a choice to who they want to win here, it would be Myron Santos, dude. And I think that's the way that I'm going to end up going, dude. I think Myron Santos just outworks Sadiq Yusuff, man. I think after the Edson Barbosa fight, dude, I think something happened in that fight that let him know that he did not have it, dude. A year and 6 months ago, I think Edson broke him, man. And what's wild is he killed Edson in the first round, but it was almost like that let him know that he didn't have what it takes to actually be at the top level of the UFC. And Then he got smoked by Diego Lopez. This is like 6 months later. And yeah, just the bad luck. It's been a solid layoff for Super City Cusa, but I just think just we've seen the best of City Cusa. Give me Myron Santos to win this fight via decision. How about you, D-Rose? I'm willing to be wrong there, though.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm a super Sadiq Yusuf fan. I do think that he's been a fun fighter. I'm surprised that you were never, I guess, bigger on him because I know you were always a big Mike Davis fan, and him and Mike Davis had that banger on the Contender Series before him. Obviously before them coming into the UFC, but they had a banger of a fight, and he beat Mike Davis. So I guess that's why I was a little bit surprised you were never too big on Sadiq Yusuf. So I do think his big thing is that he's very plotty with his footwork. So he's not super creative. He looks to put a lot of pressure on, but he's very flat-footed when he's moving forward. I think he just leaves himself open to big shots. I think that's really Diego Lopez, Sadiq Yusuf just kept shelling up. Diego Lopez just kept throwing that uppercut right in the middle. Just kept throwing that uppercut up the middle, dude, and was just smashing him with it. And he hit him with it in a combination. Then he got him back in it in the clinch. I do think that Myron Santos is going to be a guy. I think this fight, a lot of it is going to be, you're going to see Sadiq really trying to hunt down Myron Santos, where Myron Santos is not going to say look like Natalia Silva in terms of the footwork. But you're going to see Myron Santos. I think you're going to see him on his bike a little bit, kind of moving back. Give me Myron Santos here. Man, Sadiq is tough. I want to go round 2 knockout for Myron Santos. I think Sadiq gets hit just a little bit too much for my liking. I think he's a better wrestler. So can he take Myron Santos down? Yes, but I think he's going to have to go through hell to do that. And I just haven't liked the way Sadiq's chin has looked as of late. So give me Myron Santos. I'm going 2nd round knockout.
All right, me and D-Rose both on Myron Santos. Surprising, dude. I thought you were going Sadiq Yusuf there. I have to be honest. Moving on, we've got Rodolfo Bellato taking on the Bear Jew, Paul Craig. Paul Craig, 17-9-1 overall out of his last 5 fights. He is 4 losses and 1 win. 37 years old, 6'3" and a 76-inch reach. While Rodolfo Bellato is 12-2 and 1 overall out of his last 5 fights. What the fuck is this? Is it overturned?
A majority draw.
It says majority decision. Oh, so draw. Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah. So Rodolfo Bellato, 4 wins, 1 draw in his last 5 fights. 29 years old, 6'3" and a 70. Oh, yeah, that was in Australia.
That's like Jimmy Crute. Yeah. That's why I look back. I was like, against Jimmy Crute. Yeah, because Jimmy Crute basically pulverized him that first round and almost finished him, and then basically gassed out the rest of the fight.
Yep. 29 years old, 6'3", 77.5-inch reach. I'm not spending my time here, dude. Paul Craig's got no fucking chin. Rodolfo Bellato, round 1 knockout for me. Fun fact, Rodolfo Bellato's only lost to Vitor Petrino. That's his only 2 losses, and he got knocked out both times by Vitor Petrino.
Yeah, the big thing for me is not even necessarily that.
Also, this is at 205 as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Paul Craig's back up at 205. But for me, it's not even necessarily. It's just that Paul Craig doesn't possess any power in his hands. Because I think Bellato can definitely be hit.
Oh yeah,
but
dude,
I think
the Ehor fight was one that fucking showed that.
Yeah, and that's I picked Jimmy Crute going in that last fight because of that fight. I was like, yeah, he finished Ehor Peteria, but he didn't look good doing it. So yeah, I'm going to pick Rodolfo Bellato here. I'm going to go round. Let's go round 2 knockout.
All right, odds for here: Rodolfo Bellato minus 535, the favorite. Paul Craig plus 400, the dog. Over unders 1.5. The over 1.5 plus 100. The under 1.5 minus 130. So me and D Rose both on Rodolfo Bellato. Moving on to the main event of the evening, we got Gilbert Durinho Burns taking on Michael Morales. Gilbert Burns 22-8 overall. Out of his last 5 fights, 2 wins, 3 losses. 38 years old. 5'10" and a 71-inch reach. While Michael Morales, 17-0 overall, 5-0 out of his last 5 fights. He's 25 years old, 6 foot, and a 79-inch reach. Trains out of Interim Gym. So Lexi Grasso, Diego Lopez, all of them down there. For me, D Rose, odds for the fight minus 850. Michael Morales, Gilbert Burns plus 575. The dog. Odds are way too far apart, but I think Michael Morales wins, and I think Michael Morales knocks out Gilbert Burns. But at minus 850, like what can you really do? Like, we've seen Gilbert Burns get dropped so many times. And dude, Michael Morales is this 25-year-old kid that comes in here with fury and power, and it almost seems like he fights for a purpose, if that makes sense. Like, he's fighting because he's trying to get his family out of Ecuador or some shit, dude. Knocked out Neil Magny in the first round of their fight. And I remember I needed this fight to start round 2. And I believe me and you may have been streaming this one. I'm not sure.
Start round 2.
Yeah, we may have been.
No, we were
streaming
messaging.
This one. Oh,
no,
yeah.
I don't think that was on pay-per-view, but we were both messaging because we both had it to start round 2. And we were like, no.
And like, what did I say? Like the fight was going all right, and it's and if I got in a clinch or some shit, and then they broke from the clinch, and I was like, if Magny does not get back in this clinch, he's going to get knocked out. And like 3 seconds later, just fucking Michael Morales just came over the top, just nailed Neil Magny like right on the top of the head, dude. A weird place to get knocked out, but face planting Neil Magny at the end of the first round, dude. Kid's got power. He's big too. I think he's bigger than 6 foot, man.
I think you're mistaken that one with Carlos Pratos, because
I think
Morales,
I am, right?
the way Morales GMP'd him.
Oh yeah.
Morales GMP'd him because it was like as soon as he took him to. Because for me, I remember it because we were messaging because I did have that fight to start the second. No, I had Morales round 3 decision. And it was like as soon as he took Neil Magny to the ground, I was like, dude, that was too easy. Like it should not have been that easy for him to take him down.
I'm getting mixed up with the fucking Carlos Pratos fight, but that was like honestly like fucking 6 months ago too. So.
No, I'd say it's all the same thing here.
Yeah, but I mean, fucking Michael Morales, big, strong dude. I don't think he's going to have an issue taking Gilbert down, dude. I don't think he's going to be worried about getting armbarred or anything like that. I think I have to go Michael Morales. Let's go round 1 knockout, man. Round 2 knockout.
Yeah, I won't waste too much time. I do think that Gilbert Burns, one of the legends in the sport, but I do think that based on his last few fights, he shows that he still got it, but I still don't think to that extent anymore. And I think his best path to victory, truthfully, because Michael Morales is the cleaner boxer between the two, he's going to have to take Michael Morales down, and Michael Morales is a big dude for 170. So I just don't see that being an easy task for Gilbert Burns here. So give me Michael Morales. I do think that Gilbert Burns is super duper tough. So I don't think that it's going to be any type of easy for Michael Morales to finish him. So for me, if I'm playing anything, I'd probably play like a Michael Morales 4 or 5 decision. But give me a Michael Morales by decision.
All right. So you don't think he's going to finish Gilbert Burns?
No, I think Burns is tough, man. Burns didn't step into that knee against JDM last fight. Hell, he beats JDM. So he's obviously still a tough competitor. And, he got popped by Hamzat plenty of times and never got finished in that fight either. I still think Gilbert, although he gets dropped, heart of a warrior. So it's hard to get that dude out of there, man. So, and I think Morales comes in, he fights with a little bit more IQ than what people like to give him credit for. I think that's a big thing too. I don't think he's going to go in there and try to just run through Gilbert Burns. He knows Burns is going to be there, and he's not going to be able to go in there to take him down because obviously Burns' jiu-jitsu is legit. So, I think that he's going to keep it on the feet, but I think it'll be a little bit, probably, and I'm not going to say a slow fight, but a slower fight. But I still think Morales kind of dominates and gets it done.
All right. So that's it, man. Antoine wants to know what you're at the card overall.
C minus.
C minus. All right.
C minus.
All right, heroes. I told you we had one more thing left. Since podcast play of the week is dead. It's no longer. We got to come up with something else, right? Like we got to have something fun to end out the show, something we can agree on, something that we can bet on, something that just, that we can all root for Saturday night to happen. And parlays are not the case. So what I have turned to, what I have thought about, Uncle Wheezy has his ass shaving of the week, and him and Brady on Stat Diggers have their, milking of the week. People have their dog of the week. What if we, D-Rose, have the fisting of the week? Who is getting fisted on Saturday night, D-Rose? Without a doubt, just getting their shit fisted. Who's it going to be? My entries for the fisting of the week are the Connor Matthews versus Yadier Del Valle, or Rodolfo Bellato and Paul Craig. So for Paul Craig to get fisted or Connor Matthews to get fisted?
To be fair, Paul Craig is willing to pull guard. I don't know. Connor Matthews has any of that in him. I'm going to go Connor Matthews gets knocked out, man.
All right. So the Golden Octagon fisting of the week is for Yadier Del Valle to fist Connor Matthews this weekend. So that's our new one. Let's see if we can get one of these rolling, man. So the fisting, as long as it's by finish, as long as they win, I'll take it. So, it could look like, Alex Morono versus fucking Carlos. What was his name? Carlos Vera? Is that what it was? Like the Alex Morono, when he's I'm pretty sure it's Carlos Vera, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right. So it could look like that. It could be come out one punch knockout, could be a submission. As long as they get fisted, I'll be happy with it. I'll be happy with it. So the fisting of the week is Yadier Del Valle to fist Connor Matthews. Yes?
Yes. A lot of fisting going on this weekend, boys.
All right. Connor Matthews going to get fisted on Saturday night. All right. Do you guys consider Morales a future champion at his age? I think he could be. Y'all are crazy for that. Also, if Jones versus Aspinall get made for New York in November, who are you picking and why? I have to go Tom, just because Tom's faster, Tom's bigger, Tom's in the prime of his career. And there's a reason why John's not taking this fight right now. John knows that there's danger in this fight. Look how quick he took fucking Cyril Gane fight. Look how quick he took Stipe fight. He understands the danger here. And I personally think if it happens, I think Tom wins. I know D-Rose is the other way, and you are notoriously good for picking against John Jones.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I would just pick John.
I picked against him in the Cyril Gane fight because I actually thought the time off was going to be a big thing for him. I didn't really think Stipe was going to beat him, obviously. I told you going into it. I just wanted the chaos of what on God's green earth is going to happen if Stipe does happen to beat John Jones. To me, it would have been hilarious. But I still think that, Tom, has he been out of the first 2 minutes of the second round? I think that championship experience is a big thing for John Jones on his side.
We'll see. Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know he's been my favorite fighter for the longest time. D-Rose knows. Like, I just Father Time catches everyone, and John was not fast at heavyweight. Tom is much faster. Like, I don't know if anyone has ever matched Tom. I mean, I don't know if anyone has ever been able to match John in size, speed. They can grapple as well as they can strike. They have everything, and John's never fought that. Anyone that he's ever fought maybe had one or two of those things, but not the complete package that Tom Aspinall is. So that's just one thing that I would be interested to personally see. Yeah, Tom's a good fighter. But yeah, anything else before we get out of here, dear? We've been here for damn near 2.5 hours.
No, I am good. I'm just a little hungry. I hadn't had my dinner yet.
Cooked. And you had 2 good beans, fucking dickhead. Fuck off.
Hell yeah. Let's go.
All right. With that being said, we appreciate all y'all for stopping by, hanging out with us here today. My name is Matt D. Rose on that cyber screen. We appreciate y'all for stopping by here on the Golden Octagon MMA podcast. Hit that thumbs up button on y'all's way out if y'all haven't already. And D. Rose, there's no fights next weekend, man. So we probably won't be here next week, right?
I guess so.
All right. With that being said, we'll catch y'all in a couple weeks for the next podcast. With that being said, we'll catch y'all later. Peace.
KKF title shot.